On today's installment of the John Campea Show, a brand new trailer for Will Smith's Emancipation. Brendan Fraser refuses to go to the Golden Globes. Walter Hamada, he's got a brand new gig already. Grand Theft Auto is going to have a movie with Eminem. That and a whole bunch more. The John Campea Show starts right now. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet, the John Campea Show, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile, coming to you from right here on our YouTube channel. I am, of course, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Full packed house today. We got Robert Meyer Burnett sitting there. Right beside him, of course, is Chris Carr. Joining you guys in the live chat back there is Ray Ora. Taylor is lurking around back there. Jonathan running the show. And our host today, now back from New York, is Aaron Cummings and Joey Bishop. Good to have you back, Aaron.
Hey.
And of course, most importantly, you guys are here joining us today. Thank you so much for making this show part of your day. And guys, like I said, we've got a packed show today, so let's not waste any time and dive right into it. We're going to start with a couple of off the tops, and the first one is this. Now, of course, one of the big Oscar darlings that is kind of forming up this year is Brendan Fraser for his role in The Whale. Everybody has been raving about it. All the major awards outlets are kind of tracking him to be the odds-on favorite right now to take home the Academy Award. We only got one glimpse of him in this movie when that trailer came out, hearing him say one line of dialogue, and it nearly broke me. I wanted to hand him the Oscar just from that one freaking line of dialogue.
Right there with you, man.
I mean, it was emotional. I felt broken from it, so I can see where all the hype's coming from. Anyway, with that being said, before the Oscars, of course, is the absolutely, completely irrelevant, and I don't know why anybody cares about it, the Golden Globe Awards.
Free booze.
They put on a great show, though. They put on a great show. If they still around, they still exist. Anyway, so obviously, since he's an odds-on favorite to be an Oscar nominee, he's an odds-on favorite probably to get a nomination for the Golden Globes. However, if they do nominate him for the Golden Globes, and I'm sure they will, he ain't going to show up. Over at IndieWire, they've been running a story here where Brendan Fraser is basically saying, listen, my mom didn't raise no hypocrites. I ain't going to show up to the Golden Globes if they do, because a lot of you guys will remember that part of what kind of pushed him out of the spotlight was an incident that happened with one of the members of the Hollywood Foreign Press, which is, of course, the body that runs the Golden Globes. Now, this comes to us from IndieWire, who writes, the No Sudden Moves actor alleged that in 2018, that Philip Burke, a former president and member of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, groped and assaulted him in a 2003 luncheon. Fraser revealed that he was still frightened for the repercussions of coming forward. At the time, going public, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association proposed that Fraser sign a joint statement saying that although it was concluded that Mr. Burke inappropriately touched Mr. Fraser, the evidence supports that it was intended to be taken as a joke and not as a sexual advance. Fraser refused to sign that document, and Burke did not face any disciplinary action. One of the long lists about why the Golden Globes and the Hollywood Foreign Press Association is a bunch of fuck clowns. Anyway, so with that being said, you've now got the star of the year, the story of the year, Brendan Fraser, and he's coming right out. Rob, with all the other snowballing stuff that has surrounded the Golden Globes, and I admit I have been grinding an axe against the Golden Globes for over a decade. So I fully admit that. I put that out there. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. But with all the other crap that was going on, was it Tom Cruise that put his Golden Globes in a box and shipped them back to the Hollywood Foreign Press? I think it was Tom Cruise that did that. Shipped them back there. Anyway, how big of a blow do you think this is to the Golden Globes if the story of the year just doesn't show up, or will it just be glossed over and not really be an issue?
Look, I think it's an important statement. I mean, he's delivered what arguably could be the best performance of his career. You know, a front person in the awards season, and for him to come out preemptively and saying, I ain't going. I'm sure he has a lot of people. I mean, Brendan Fraser is a very well-liked member of the Hollywood acting community, and I'm sure that a lot of people would throw their towel into his ring.
Mm-hmm. Chris, regardless of how pointless this awards show is, it gets a lot of attention.
It does.
It gets a lot of press. and there is notoriety that goes with it. So, and even I have to admit, they put on a hell of a show.
They do.
They put
There's
on a better
Jameson
show than
bottles
the
on
Oscars
everyone's
do.
table.
I know.
Yeah, better than the Oscar show. And so there's that. But
It's usually much more fun.
and it is usually a hell of a lot more fun. Is it a big deal if, I mean, listen, all these award shows have somebody not show up. It's always for different reasons. When you got a guy coming out forward and making public statements saying, I ain't going to your show, period.
Yeah.
And it ain't because of scheduling conflicts. When it's Brendan Fraser this year, will that be a big deal? Will it not be a big deal? If he doesn't, could it cause a domino effect of maybe some other performers saying, yeah, I ain't showing up either? I don't know. Big deal, no deal? What do you think?
I think it's a very big deal, especially because that statement they tried to make him sign was such an absolute joke. Fuck clowns is the perfect word to describe what happened there. Because as most people know, when someone is inappropriate with you or harasses you, they do the, well, it's a joke. I was joking. Everything's a joke until you call it out. So I really, really commend him for not taking that shit. And I think it's really important to stand his ground on this. I love his line in this article, too, of my mother didn't raise a hypocrite. I have more history than respect for the
That's
Hollywood
the line.
Foreign
I
Press.
have more history with the Hollywood Foreign Press than I have respect for them. Yeah.
So good. And so I think it's very important he stands his ground. I think other people will follow suit. I think his other cast members certainly will, the other people involved in the whale. And I hope that this does have a domino effect because, I mean, the Me Too organization kind of fell apart. It really lost its way. Leadership kind of went all over the place, you know, and we kind of forgot about everything that was happening with that. And people like Brendan were also affected. So I really hope that this makes people remember what happened to everyone and go, hey, yeah, we're done with that kind of bullshit. We're not going to take that kind of harassment anymore. It's not acceptable. And we don't need to go to a party celebrating the people who did it.
The thing, too, about them trying to get Brendan Fraser to sign that document, saying, oh, I
disgusting.
understand it was a joke. One of our live viewers, Still Bill, in the live chat, I almost cracked up. He wrote, here, let me jerk you off real quick. It'll be hilarious. Yeah, well said. Still
Yeah,
Bill.
this is-
Well said.
it's-
I'd like to chime in
Exactly
also
that.
and stick up for fuck clowns. I know some. I just,
You
just
know
wanna make
some?
We
Yeah.
don't want to, paint fuck clowns with a
Yeah,
broad brush.
I just wanna make
I'm
sure we
there are
were
some
clear
very
about
nice
that.
fuck clowns out there and stuff like this. Anyway, Aaron, let me ask you this. I mean, Brendan Fraser is kind of becoming the beloved guy of the year and everything like that. Is him saying, I'm not going to go to the Golden Globes, is that going to have real repercussions on the Globes this year, or will it be an afterthought?
Oh, no, I think it absolutely will because it's going to make anyone who is interested in going to the Golden Globes have to second guess their reasoning why.
Right.
You know, I mean, Hollywood people get invited to a ton of fun parties. Is it really necessary to go to yet another one just to get drunk on national television and pick up some awards that at the end of
We
the day...
do it every day.
Yeah, and also the only reason why people think that there's any, value to the Golden Globes is because oftentimes the Golden Globes are an indicator of what may happen at the Oscars. And so that's the only reason why it's given any credence is because it's potentially a predictor. But at the end of the day, I think that because of the bad behavior across the board, whether it's sexual assaults or the rampant racism or all the other problematic behavior displayed by this organization, I really think that when more people stand arm in arm with survivors like Brendan Fraser and say, hey, not only are we not okay with the behavior, but we're just not even going to support the organization that tried to cover up the behavior. Mm-hmm. Rose McGowan was forced to walk the red carpet with her rapist. This is something that has happened over and over and over again, where survivors are just expected to smile and nod and be happy. And I love the fact that as a male survivor, he's standing up and saying it wasn't right when it happened to them. It's not right happening to me. Mm-hmm. And I am now in a position to actually be able to take a stand against this organization that even though the organization did not sexually assault him, they tried to cover it up. And they tried to make him complicit in it. And so I think that a lot of other actors and people in Hollywood are going to follow suit. And I really don't even understand why the Golden Globes is making a comeback. I thought we were done with them.
And here's where it's going to get really complicated for them, too, because the position that they're in now is that other members of the press who are not the Hollywood Foreign Press, when, I don't know, pull out the name of an actor, John Hamm. I'm just pulling the random name out, okay? John Hamm gets nominated for a Golden Globe. Other journalists are going to be asking him in interviews leading up to it. So are you going to go to the Golden Globes?
Yeah.
So do you think Brendan Fraser's overreacting? By
Oh,
not
yeah.
going?
Mm-hmm.
So
they're all going to be forced to really look at their reasoning for why they want to participate with that.
So it's going to become complicated for them. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this whole situation? Brendan Fraser, I think we all understand why he ain't going to go. Do you think this is going to become a big problem for the Golden Globes? Do you think it's just going to be brushed over? I don't know. However you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's do another off the top here, shall we? And that one is this. You know, one of the movies that we've been keeping an eye on this year, ever since the Oscars, is the highly anticipated Will Smith film being directed by Antoine Fuqua. And by the way, maybe my second or third most underrated actor in the entire business, Ben Foster. Emancipation. Now, was Apple going to release this film this calendar year, or were they going to hold it off and put it out next year? Well, we found out a few weeks ago that they affirmed they're going to be putting it out this year. It's going to be Oscar eligible, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, ever since they announced this movie, we've been talking about it and wondering, you know, what's it going to feel like? Well, they dropped a big trailer for it today, big, long, full trailer today. And we had a chance around the office here to watch it this morning. And my God, this looks good. This looks so good. And, you know, listen, I will say this. When I was watching it, all I was really seeing was Will Smith. But that's understandable because it's 2 minutes. Like sometimes it takes 3 or 4 minutes in a movie for that just to wash into the background. And I can already tell that that's going to happen when I watch this movie in its entirety. But I'm watching this, the hand that Antoine Fuqua brings to this, Ben Foster in there looks like he's going to be like the Darth Vader of this series. Like you just know he's going to become the new Monsieur Candide, like a guy you're going to absolutely love to hate in this without the charm. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot without the charm in this. This looks incredible. If it wasn't for last year, I'd say Will Smith is probably in line to get his next nomination, but I doubt the Academy will give that to him. But regardless, who cares? This trailer looks fantastic. I cannot wait to see this movie. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to see it. What did you think about the trailer for Emancipation?
I had a little bit of a different reaction because I did just go, oh yeah, it's Will Smith towards the end of it. He seemed to really, really transform himself and really commit to this character. I'm very excited about this. Ben Foster is an incredible performer who I know is going to commit in a way that is going to be so unsettling in this. And also just from a history perspective, we don't know a lot about Peter, but that photo whipping Peter really turned the
legendary.
tide.
Yeah.
It really made people unable to deny the atrocities of slavery and the slave trade. And we only know what we know from that article, right? Hey, he escaped from this plantation 10 days ago. Some of his friends were killed in the process. And then he joined the Union. So it's really going to be interesting to see what they do with this story and how they tell Peter's story. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. And the black and white choice, too, I really enjoy as well. This looks like it's going to be a cinematic just feast, too.
Rob, you had a chance to take a look at this. I will say, I liked the black and white choice at first, but when I saw the environments they were in, like with the swamp and the battlefield, I did find myself going, ooh, the richness of the color and what a cinematographer could do here would be really nice. But it is a creative choice.
It is the image carried all the way through, you know?
So, and it kind of follows through as consistent with what that original photograph was, right? Rob, you had a chance to take a look at this. You and I have been talking about this movie for a long time. What do you think about the trailer?
Well, the thing that struck me is what strikes me a lot is that Anton Fuqua is probably the most underrated director working in Hollywood today. That guy, every time I watch, look, I don't know why, but I've become obsessed with watching clips of the Equalizer movies that he also directed.
I love his Equalizer movies.
You know what's funny? I've only seen those movies once, each of them once, but I watch the clips over and over. I don't know why, because, you know, they show up in your YouTube, you watch one.
I do that for Moneyball.
Oh, I love Moneyball and The Big Short and now the Equalizer. His directing style, like the big, wide, expansive shots. I don't know what it is about his style, but he brings. I wouldn't have thought that he would have directed this kind of a movie, but you can even see it, the visceral nature of whatever his magic that he brings between him and what Will Smith is doing. This film looks like it's going to be incredible. I mean, and in terms of hard hitting, like you're going to feel this movie, not just watch it from an intellectual standpoint, but like you feel his films. Like I was watching Training Day the other day and I'm like, that movie makes my flesh crawl and I love it because you feel the intensity of the characters and the scenes. I mean, he's able to bring this. I mean, he brings you inside, and I think this movie looks like it's fantastic. It's going to be fantastic.
Aaron is one of only 2 people in this room who have acted on screen with Will Smith. What did you think about the trailer that we saw?
Wait, who's the other one?
I did. I was an extra in Hancock.
Oh, right.
No,
okay.
I'm kidding. I wasn't.
Oh,
The
okay.
one of one.
I was.
But you did, like you acted on screen with Will Smith in his Academy Award winning performance. But anyway, you had a chance to check out this trailer. What did you think about it?
Man. I was really just blown away and moved. And I will say I agree with Rob's take on the black and Chris's take on the black and white aspect of filming it. As much as, yes, I mean, I'm from South Louisiana originally. I've spent many times as a little child crawling through swamps and wrestling with alligators just for funsies. As
Like
one
you
does. No, I really think that shooting this in black and white, you still get that rich detail. And I think that we're going to definitely see a cinematography nomination for sure. Who also really stuck out to me in the trailer was Charmaine Bingwa, who plays his wife. There is something about, I really love how they chose to zero in on the relationship that they had as well, because it really was about him getting back to her and her belief of he's going to come back to us, reassuring the children and understanding that this wasn't just about the atrocities of what was occurring when people were living in, under the oppression of slavery, but also families being ripped apart, and how and what that actually meant when you look at the families that were left behind in all of this, and the fact that he joins the Union Army. We haven't seen that story. A lot of times, I think that people go, "Okay, it's just another World War II movie. Oh, it's just another movie about prison. Oh, it's another movie about slavery." The fact that we're actually seeing him escaping, joining the Union Army, and then fighting against the
oppressors.
The very foundation of our country that allowed this to happen and enabled this to happen, I think is going to be a really inspiring story as Will Smith continues to give to us. I'm thrilled for his what I consider to be a triumphant return. And I saw Ben Foster actually on Broadway many years ago, and he is just as engaging on the stage in person as he is on screen. And I was so thrilled to look on IMDb and see that my friend Paul Ben Victor is also in this movie, who will probably be playing a really terrible person, as he's very good at doing, even though he's really nice in person.
What's funny is that these movies about these grand events, whether it's 9/11, the World War II, whatever, the ones that are best are the ones that know how to percolate it down to the shared human stories that we have. So you're pointing out the thing about making it about him and his relationship with his wife. So you can try to tell a story about prison, or you can tell a story about a very personal shared human experience that a character in the movie had that a lot of us share. And that's when
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that has that kind of experience with us.
Another thing that struck me in this trailer, and you pointed it out, is that Louisiana, the swamps itself, are kind of an open air prison. Like these, you can't escape. And it becomes almost like the prison. I love prison break stories, and I would never have wanted to go on the run in Louisiana swamp.
Not to mention the oppressive heat and the humidity.
I feel like you're drinking your air.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's horrible.
All right, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see the trailer for Emancipation? If so, what did you think about it? Whatever those thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take a second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's video, our friends at MeUndies.
The holidays are officially upon us, and it's time to start celebrating. Do your thing and holiday your way with MeUndies. Because it's the most wonderful time of the year to try MeUndies, because they're currently offering a very merry deal. Get 20% off your first purchase with free standard shipping and free returns when you go to MeUndies.com/Campea. Guys, I've been wearing MeUndies for a while now, because I used to be like everybody else. I would go to the big store, buy the biggest box of the most generic underwear, and I thought that was good enough. But ever since I started MeUndies and started wearing the most comfortable underwear I have ever worn in my life, I swear on this Christmas season, I will never go back. So get your holiday shopping finished early and start making time for yourself with the new MeUndies holiday collection. Their undies, long underwear, and sleepwear are made out of the softest, most supple fabric you've ever felt and are guaranteed to bring you comfort and joy to all of your loved ones. Shop their classic plaid prints for a traditional, picture-perfect style, or get festive with their adventurous limited edition sweater prints. Available in sizes extra small all the way through 4XL, MeUndies has what you need to make all of your favorite people smile this holiday season, all in one convenient place. So to get 20% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Campea.
And thank you to our friends at MeUndies for giving me the most comfortable underwear I've ever worn and for being a sponsor of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, it's that time of the show for us to go to our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. If you guys have a question you'd like us to address on the show and you want to hear your voice on the show, call our hotline anytime at 951-268-4259. And here's our hotline question today.
Hey, John and crew, Carson here. With the MCU having 8 TV series on Disney Plus right now, what shows do you think deserve a second season and which ones do not? Thanks, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
All right, thanks a lot for calling that in, Carson. And, this is a really great question because on normal traditional television, even with other streaming services, HBO and whatever, when a show comes out, well, you just assume it's going to get season 2 and season 3, and that's what they're going for. The MCU shows have not all been like that because I think all of us in the room are in agreement that WandaVision is the best Disney Plus MCU show right now. It's kind of the gold standard, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think any of us are expecting a second season for it. I just don't know how you do a season
I
2
would
of
hate
WandaVision.
it.
Well, it's kind of getting a sequel in Vision Quest.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a way, it's like a
Yeah.
follow-up, but it's not really WandaVision. It's going to be a
And
different kind of show.
Agatha.
And
Yeah.
Agatha, spin-off of that too, right? But not really a sequel. And not everything that has been MCU on Disney Plus has been all that good. So let's start with, if we go over to the Campea Classroom, what should not get I'm just going to call a sequel. Really, it's season 2. What should not get a sequel? We'll start there. I'm going to start with something that is obvious. Hawkeye should not get a sequel. This was not a good show. I mean, I know, listen, it's all subjective. I know there are people who enjoyed it, and there were certainly things about the show that I enjoyed. There were certainly elements. There was even a couple of episodes I liked. As a matter of fact, going into the finale, it could have gone either way for me. If the finale really nailed it and was awesome, I think I would have walked away going, you know what? Hawkeye was okay. It didn't, so that's something I don't think should get a sequel. Another thing I don't think should get a sequel is She-Hulk. This was a show, again, that for me started strong, but again, it just couldn't get over the hump of being a comedy that wasn't funny. And it's just difficult for that to do. Now, there's some that are mid. So we'll go maybes. In the maybes, I go Falcon and Winter Soldier. Right now, that's a big question mark right now about whether or not they can even actually do that because, the new Cap, Sam, he's got his own movie coming out. Are they going to move him to featuring on the big screen and then bring him back to the small screen? Not sure about that. But Falcon the Winter Soldier, while I felt it could have been better, was actually pretty decent. And Sam's storyline in that was absolutely wonderful. Another maybe for me, but we all know it is getting it, is Loki. So Loki is getting a season 2. That one for me would be on the maybe round. I liked it, but I was a little disappointed by it at the same time. Loki is one of my top 5 favorite MCU characters. I love that character, but the show itself for me was, nah. In the absolute should get another go at it. You guys know what I'm going to say, Ms. Marvel. Mm-hmm. Other than WandaVision, Ms. Marvel to me is the next. If WandaVision is the gold standard, Ms. Marvel's the silver standard of what the MCU can be on Disney Plus. And it's a show that is structured that it can be seasonal. It feels like you're waiting for a season 2, right? It didn't feel like a miniseries. Not like something like Moon Knight, which, by the way, is another thing I should put under the maybes is Moon Knight. But Ms. Marvel to me is a complete absolute. And then, of course, you've got WandaVision, but I'm not going to put that on here at all because that's, again, just not a show that I think is structured anyway. So for me, I've only got one that I think is an absolute, and that's Ms. Marvel. Couple of maybes. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which of course would now be called probably Cap and the Winter Soldier. They went that way. Loki's and maybe Moon Knight's and maybe. I would avoid Hawkeye and She-Hulk if I were them. So that's my kind of list on that. Rob, if we go over to you, if we had to first start with you and say, out of all the MCU shows that we've watched, which ones would you just immediately not even have to think about too much, say, this shouldn't get a season 2? Which one would that be?
Well, I mean, I feel a little differently. Like, I love the character of Hawkeye, and I think
I love the character of Hawkeye too.
If there was a different story to tell, but I would like to see a more of Kate Bishop. Mm-hmm. I really like that character. So if you did a Kate Bishop miniseries or a Young Avengers, which I'm pulling for, that's what I'm waiting for. But She-Hulk, I could take it or leave it. I really like the character. I think, again, the show should be retooled and do something interesting with her as opposed to an unfunny comedy that really disappointed me. Moon Knight, I want to see again just to make it better. It turned out to be a big disappointment for me. I mean, if they never made another Moon Knight show, I wouldn't be sad. And I love Moon Knight. Everyone knows I love Moon Knight. But I think they should do a Winter Soldier series. If they can't do Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Oh, a straight-up Winter Soldier
just do a straight up Winter Soldier series. I really like Sebastian Stan.
Of course,
I really
we've got
like,
him coming in Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
and we've got Miss Marvel's going to be in the Marvels.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of these shows, what I see them as almost like springboards to other things. You
in
know,
sports terminology, would you see the shows as a farm league and then
in
you
a way,
move them
yeah,
up to the pros?
Yeah, like I mean, in a way, in terms of sequels, because if they're leading to other things, like WandaVision leads to Vision Quest, if they lead to other things, I'm really excited about that. Like as you know, having the scripts, I can't wait to see Secret Invasion, and Secret Invasion isn't really a sequel to anything except maybe Captain Marvel, I guess, because you've got Skrulls in it. But I'm looking really forward to that. I think it could be my favorite Marvel show if they stick the landing. But all of these other shows are almost like one-offs to me, because
Same.
they are going somewhere else. That's why I think Hawkeye was sort of. I think the Hawkeye show was weird, John. It was this weird holiday show where Hawkeye he should have taken care of his problem in an afternoon, but they strung it out over like 6 episodes, and I'm like, why is this taking so long? And
it's not a good thing when I honestly can say that I think the best thing to come out of the Hawkeye series was
Pizza
the
Dog.
Tracksuit Mafia.
Oh,
bro,
Bro.
I don't know.
Anyway. Chris, what about you? Do you have any of the Marvel MCU shows that stand out to you that should absolutely not get a sequel or should absolutely get a second season? What stands out to you?
I mean, I don't think Falcon and Winter Soldier should, because we should have them transitioning into Cap on the screen, because we need that leadership in the MCU too. We need Cap back up there, and I'm really excited about that. I also don't know about having a Moon Knight sequel. I know we're getting one, but I kind of just feel like they should have had a complete season. Don't give me a limited, 6 to 8 episodes? How many episodes
6.
was it? 6? Give me some more episodes, because that's what I think was the issue there. Oh, shit, now we're done. Sorry. And they really rushed that ending and that kind of reveal of, ooh, maybe this is what's happening. So I feel like if we had gotten more episodes, then we could have had one nice complete season and it'd be fine. But, shoulda, woulda, coulda. When it comes to some of these others here, I don't, like Rob was saying, I don't know if you need a sequel series, because they should lead into other things. They should go off into other streams and rivers and stuff. I don't know if you need a continuation of that specific series. Ms. Marvel, I'd love to see a season 2 just so I can see more of that family, but I'm hoping we see a lot of the family in the movie as well. So I'm kind of torn on some of them.
All right, guys, question is for you. What of the current Marvel series that we have on Disney Plus stand out to you as maybe the ones that should not get sequels at all, that should get sequels absolutely? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's now move into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics in the John Campea Show? Well, that's easy. That's where you guys come in, because you guys select our main topics. See, whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the John Campea Show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit. And then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Aaron, what is our first main topic today?
This comes to us from Darren K.D. Simmons, who says, "Hi, John. I have to admit, I thought it was a joke at first, but it looks like they're actually making a third Princess Diaries movie. When I thought about it, I guess I shouldn't be surprised with all the older IP getting brought back to life again. Do you think this is a good property to bring back again? Thanks."
All right. Thanks a lot for writing that in, Darren. And look, under the category of content not made for Giovanni, that's Princess Diaries. Of course, I saw it when I was younger and stuff like that. It's charming. But listen, there's no denying that the very fact that we say Princess Diaries, y'all know what we're talking about. Y'all know it. I mean, that says something about the legacy, if you will, of that franchise. I mean, it's Julie Andrews and all that kind of stuff, obviously. But I think, Darren, that you absolutely nailed it. we are living in an age right now where going back to older beloved IP kind of seems to be all the rage right now. And to be fair, in some avenues, it's having a lot of success as well. And if you don't think there's a lot of like young couples or families who might have like young children of their own now who aren't already going, I can't wait to share this with my kids, you're crazy, because there are. Anyway, this comes to us from the good folks over at Deadline, who wrote the following. A third Princess Diaries film being penned by, I got to try to make sure I say this right, Adrita Mukherjee, who is also the main writer and producer on Reacher, by the way, is in the works at Disney. Deadline can confirm. Details as to the threequel's plot and the involvement of Anne Hathaway and Andrews are currently under wraps, but the new film is understood to be a continuation of the past story rather than a reboot, and Anne Hathaway has recently confirmed her interest in reteaming with the Mary Poppins Oscar winner as recently as last month. All right. Clearly, Deadline is saying we don't know officially if Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews are being there. We do know it's a continuation. This transfers very quickly from a pretty solid good idea to a really dumb idea if you don't get Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews in this. Provided they're willing to be in it and all that kind of stuff. And by all reports, they are willing to be in it. What's the point of doing it and calling it a continuation of that story? No, I'm not even saying they have to be the main characters. Like Princess Diaries could be Anne Hathaway's daughter, could be the main character or something like that. But I think you absolutely have to have them in there. Anyway, Chris, I'm going to make an assumption here that this is a series of movies you've watched and enjoyed.
Yes.
What do you think about the possibility
them.
of another Princess Diaries film?
I think it'd be heckin' cute, as long as the script is right. But who does she end up with? Who does Mia end up with? Because at the end of Princess Diaries 2, spoilers, she ends up with Chris Pine, but they changed the laws of marriage so she doesn't have to get married in order to be Queen of Genovia. So, did they stay married? Does Michael come back in the picture?
Is that the country where the X-Men live?
No.
That's
Yes.
Genosha.
That's
right,
Genosha.
yeah.
Little
Okay.
different, little different.
Big crossover,
I would
I
love that crossover event. Disney, give it to us. It's what we deserve. But I know I was reading in Glamour that Robert Schwartzman, who, shut up, Rob. I do my job. When we have a story, I go research it. It's real
this is no
fun.
judgment. I take much delight in it.
When I was reading Glamour, Robert Schwartzman was saying that he has been approached about coming back for the third one. He played the love interest in the first film, but he wasn't able to do the second because he was touring with his band Rooney. So there might be a little love triangle in there, or
Bad
we get
career
to
choice.
find out. Yeah, apparently, yeah, right? And then they get some schmuck named Chris Pine to fill in for him. Who's
In
even
his
that?
feature film debut.
Yep. And he's great in it.
Was that Pine's debut?
Yep.
Oh, good for him.
We would not have him as Captain Kirk if it had not been for the Princess Diaries.
Yes.
Now
people
Rob
are
hates
okay
the
with
Princess
that.
Diaries.
Actually, I thought, Chris Pine is a great Kirk. He just was poorly written in Star Trek On.
Anyway, we're not going to get
Let's talk about
sidetracked.
Star Trek.
Hey, I didn't bring it up.
But as our Princess Diary aficionado,
Yeah.
let me ask you this question. I made an assumption that, because you know what they say about assuming, it makes an ass out of you and you. But if this assumption that I have that this becomes a bad idea tonight, like, can they do a third one without Anne Hathaway, Julie Andrews?
No.
Okay.
Get the hell out of here. You can't do that. Remember when they tried to do a Mamma Mia sequel and they were like, Meryl Streep will kind of be in it? No, don't do that nonsense. You have to have them both. They have to both do it.
You know what? That was still a pretty good Mamma Mia movie.
It was decent, but come on.
Yeah, I know. They should
It
have
didn't
made
capture that magic.
Aaron, now
Deep
unlike
nut.
Chris, you do not strike me as a Princess Diaries girl. Was this one that was on your watch list in Texas?
No. This is a millennial film. This is definitely like, I'm hardcore Gen X, as is evidenced by my 80s hairband, Vince Neil in a Coke bender, trashing a motel room.
And the fact that you brought up Tawny Katane.
Oh, this is literally my
That's the
dream.
first thing you said
My
to me this
dream has
morning.
been
I'm
to
like,
be
yes.
Tawny Katane since I was like 8 years old. Anyway, this isn't about me or Star Trek. Yes, I this is definitely a millennial film. This tugs at all the heartstrings of the millennials who grew up watching these movies. And yes, Anne Hathaway absolutely has said that not only would she be willing to do it, she's pulling for it. She said that she would be happy to go wherever Julie Andrews is currently residing, put a green screen behind her, and literally just film her. She wants this to happen. She wants to make this movie. Julie Andrews, on the other hand, in 2022 said, no, it's been too long. It just doesn't, it's not going to happen. I think that the hard sell would be Julie Andrews. It sounds like Anne Hathaway would move heaven and earth to make it happen. And then as for Chris Pine, he said, if it shoots in LA, I'll do it. Which is kind of funny. I'm not getting on a plane. I will not do it in San Diego. I will not do it in San Francisco. But if you shoot it in LA, preferably in my backyard while I'm still wearing my slippers, I'll consider it.
So let's amend the question a little bit then. And I'll throw this back to you, Chris. Can you do Princess Diaries 3 if you have, your Academy Award, your one Academy Award winner, but not Julie Andrews? Could you say that the character has passed away? Could you still do it then?
You could, but doesn't that feel a little cheap? I don't know. If they did it well, they could. I would hope that they could do something. I mean, Julie Andrews, just do a Zoom call with Mia. Come on.
She did come out of her semi-retirement to do this movie. And the last movie she'd done, the last Disney movie, that she did before this was actually in 1964.
Wow.
Yeah. So clearly Princess Diaries has something, she has a special love for it. I think that if anybody can get her to do it, it might be Miss Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
So come on, Anne. We're all pulling for you, even us old geezers from a Gen X.
The real question I would have for you, John, is would they do this film for theatrical release? Because this seems to me to be, they're turning like Hocus Pocus 2, which I think they should have released theatrically.
Yeah, and I think they're realizing that now.
Yeah, I think this is one of these movies where I'm sure the reason this came into being was they want to do it for streaming. And I I saw the first Princess Diaries movie. I thought it was a good movie. It's a good movie. It's not my thing, but it's still a good movie. They need to think about these things not as streaming fodder.
You know what? I'm going to go on a limb because I don't know the answer, but I'm going to go on a limb and say I think this gets a theatrical release. And I think you're starting to see, like, we're obviously seeing Warner Brothers leading the way in getting it, that's the way. But I think we have been starting to see that all the other studios are cluing into that too. And I think this will go theatrical. I don't know that for sure.
This is a theatrical franchise, and they're trying to turn, because these aren't epic films, I think they're missing out on like you pointed out, this is a Gen Z millennial thing. It's mothers and daughters. It's this huge audience that people don't think of. This movie could have a huge opening weekend.
Yeah, I mean, huge. Relatively speaking.
And also look at the success of The Crown. People clearly, and the success of, what's the Anne's favorite show that she wears the hat and eats
The Crown?
The Crown.
Oh,
Downton Abbey.
Yes.
Downton Abbey. Sorry.
The one with
yes.
the downstairs,
She
upstairs
does
people.
that for both of them, actually. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So that's the thing. I mean, there's clearly an audience for this, people who really love to watch this, this land of princesses and princes, and and it's got that what's that Audrey Hepburn movie? The Rain in Spain.
My Fair Lady.
My Fair Lady.
My Fair Lady.
My Fair Lady. That
Pygmalion
whole
with music.
fish out of
Just
water
wait,
kind
Carrie
of story.
Higgins.
People love that.
All right. With that down, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, obviously for maybe some of us watching this video, like Princess Diaries isn't made for us, but I mean, there's no denying that's a recognizable IP. You've got some beloved people who adore this movie. Do you think this can happen? If so, in which way do you think it'll go? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to take a break from the news for a second, and we're going to play a little game of movie quotes with a foursome in here that we've never had compete against each other before, because we've, of course, got Rob versus Chris versus Aaron versus Ray. And you know what? We've actually got something on the line here. We have a Namor Funko Pop figure that will be autographed by everybody in the room here, and it will go out to one of our channel members. And Ray, who is playing for who with our channel members?
Oh, if Taylor wants to read them out.
Okay, go ahead, Taylor. Who's
All
playing
right,
for who?
let's see. Rob is playing for Roberto Blanco. Chris is playing for Mr. 47. Ray is playing for Marcus Y. And Aaron is playing for Edward something.
Marcin.
There we go.
Hey,
I can't read
Edward.
it. It's Ray's writing.
All right, so whoever wins,
Buddy.
their person gets this autographed Funko Pop of Namor. All right, so you guys know how this
when we
works.
play for
I'm going to
people.
read off one quote from a movie. We're going to go through 4 different movies. We're going to read off a quote from a movie. If the first person gets it, they get 4 points. If they don't get it, the other 3 players can steal. However, if they get it wrong while trying to steal, they lose that amount of points. If nobody gets it, we move on to quote number 2, which is worth 3 points. Then quote number 3, which is worth 2 points, all the way down to 1 point. So with that all down, Chris, we're going to start with you today.
Oh no, Mr. 47, I'm sorry.
All right. So here we go.
Sorry, I love you.
Our first quote to our first movie is, "It would be terrible to lose a
Oh,
student
I know this.
on a school trip again? 3, 2, 1.
Spider-Man Far From Home?
Incorrect. And Aaron, I got to have you close your laptop.
Oh, okay.
Because you can't be watching the thing. Okay, incorrect. Does anybody want to steal?
I thought I did.
Okay, we'll now go over to Aaron. For 3 points, the second quote is, you need to understand, I will do anything to protect my family. I know you know what I'm talking about, so don't mess with me. Don't interfere in my business again. In 3, 2, 1. Anybody want to steal? Yes, Rob, for 3
Nobody?
points. Incorrect.
Oh,
Rob is negative 3 points.
Ouch.
Try.
All right.
That was a good guess, though.
We move on to quote number 3, worth 2 points, and we go over to Ray. The first quote was, it would be terrible to lose a student on a school trip again.
Damn.
You need to understand that I would do anything to protect my family. And now the third quote is, I know you left detention today. I know you left the decathlon. I know you sneak out of this house every night, and that is not okay.
Spider-Man Homecoming?
For 2 points! Goes into the lead.
I was waiting for someone to get that.
The last quote was, how do you think your buddy Stark paid for that tower and all of his little toys? So,
No,
yes,
You were
Spider-Man.
so close.
Ray goes into the lead
Yeah.
with 2
Mark it.
points. All
Damn
right.
it.
We started off with Chris, so we'll start off with Aaron on this one. So movie number 2, quote 1. This is crazy. I finally meet my childhood hero and he's trying to kill us. What a joke. 3, 2, 1. No, anybody want to steal? No? Okay. Ray, we go over to you. For 3 points, your second quote is, now we're going to walk to the falls quickly and quietly with no rap music or flash dancing. 3, 2, 1. No, anybody want to steal? No one's going to try to steal? Okay.
God,
Look
the
at
first-
this game.
We go on to the third quote. And the third quote is, hey, I know a joke. A squirrel walks up, this is all Rob, by the way. A squirrel walks up to a tree and says, I forgot to store acorns for the winter, and now I am dead. Ha, it's funny because the squirrel gets dead. In 3, 2,
Hardest game ever.
1. No, anybody want to steal? Okay, so Chris, we go to you for 1 point. The final quote
This
is,
is how dad makes his kids cry around the dinner table.
a wilderness explorer is a friend to all, be a plant or fish or tiny mole. In 3, 2, 1.
Up? Or not up?
For 1
Oh, it
point. Before you,
Wow.
So
I've never
what
seen
is that,
the
1
movie,
point?
So
I stopped you before you took it back. So
Oh.
that, yes, so Chris
Oh.
gets 1 point.
Okay.
All right.
It's amazing how you could be in third with 0 when someone has a -3.
All right.
get there, Rob, with this one.
We are now going on to movie number 3. And I think we start with Ray on this one.
No. I think it was Rob, right?
No.
No, we'll start with you on this one. Worth 4 points. Your first quote is, character 1 says, she's got my grandmother's Holocaust ring. Character 2 says, I didn't know they gave out rings at the Holocaust. 3, 2,
First game ever.
1.
I think I know this.
All right.
Same.
Anybody want to steal? No? Okay. We move on to quote number 2. And the second quote is, it's not illegal. It's frowned
Yeah, I
upon
definitely
like
know this.
masturbating on an airplane.
I don't know it.
Okay. Rob doesn't know. Does anybody else want to try to steal? No. Okay. So we go down for
Chris.
2 points. This goes to Chris. For 2 points, the third quote from this movie is, you guys might not know this, but I consider myself a bit of a loner. I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack.
The Hangover.
Correct for 2 points. The Hangover.
Another movie I haven't seen.
And Chris,
You would
haven't
love it,
seen The
Ray.
Hangover?
Oh, you'd have so much fun.
Hangover. I told you I'm the worst.
You
person
would
to play
love
this
The
game.
Ray, you would
Hangover.
love
Yeah.
that.
Like, that's your movie. You would love that movie.
Up the first 15 minutes, you'd be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know
All
what?
right.
I
You
would
can even
lo-
take a nap halfway through and you won't really miss much.
So what is the score right now,
All right.
Taylor?
In the lead is Chris with 3 points. Then Ray with 2 points. Aaron is in third place with 0 points, and then Rob has -3 points.
-3.
Okay.
You know what I thought that was originally? I thought it was the movie with Zach Galifianakis and Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
Oh,
delivery.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
Delivery
Due
date.
Delivery date.
Due date. That's what I
Due
thought
date.
that was.
That's what it is.
That's-
All right. We now move on to the fourth and final movie. Rob, we start with you.
You can do it.
With your first quote is, I swear I'm so pissed off at my mom. As soon as she's of age, I'm putting her in a home. 3, 2, 1. Anybody want to steal? All right. We move on to
Is it
quote
me? I've said it.
number 2. Chris, for 3 points and the win, I'm going to take
Oh, I
a
know.
pillowcase and fill it with bars of soap
Now I
and
got
beat
it.
the shit out of you. In 3, 2, 1. Anybody want to steal?
Wish I
Ray?
could.
Step Brothers.
For 3 points and the win!
You did it, Marcus!
No, we're tied. We're
No,
3
that
and 3.
just- that just
that
put him
gave him
in-
3 points?
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry, Mr. 47.
Yeah, that put so
Sorry,
for the
Roberto.
second day in a row.
Yes.
Ray Ora wins movie quotes
Yay, Ray.
again.
Yeah.
Pulling
Wow.
that one out of the fire.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't see like
Yes,
4 of the
Marcus.
5.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! What
I
is
summoned
that?
all my powers of fat last night,
It's an 8-inch snickerdoodle.
and an
Did you
8-inch
make that?
chocolate chip cookie.
By the way, that did you know that was Aaron's name in school? Aaron's name in school was Cookie. She was known as Cookie Cummings.
I learned that because was it your sister in that video
didn't
that
even
said you
taste
robbed
this,
the
Aaron.
cradle
Is
when
it
you
any-
married
Oh my God.
Tom?
So good.
Did you make that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, so
Wait,
good.
Aaron, it's an edible.
Okay, during the next
Oh, shit.
It's so high.
Okay, to Marcus, if you could email me, I'm gonna whatever, so I could get your info. We can mail that name or pop out to you.
Yeah, we'll get this autographed and sent out. So congratulations. Okay. With that now down and out of the way, guys, that was fun. We are going to take a second here and thank another sponsor of our video because I want to go get some of that cookie. I watch these guys all the time. You can learn everything from filmmaking, finance, acting, poker, the good folks over at MasterClass. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MasterClass. You guys know we have been sponsored by MasterClass and we love them here at the John Campea Show for giving us in-depth information on a wide variety of topics from the world's best experts. With MasterClass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn the art of filmmaking from James Cameron, improve your cooking skills from Gordon Ramsay, or learn how to make compelling YouTube videos from Marquise Brownlee. With over 150 classes from a range of world-class instructors, that thing you've always wanted to do is closer than you think. I was recently watching through the independent filmmaking course by Spike Lee, and I found it fascinating that not only did he cover the broader topics like working with actors, but he also gets into finer details like working with a cinematographer and how to properly audition a DP for your project. It was fascinating. So guys, I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class, and as a John Campea Show listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea now. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off Masterclass. And thank you to our friends at Masterclass for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. And yes, you did catch me mid-bite here with my cookie. So, guys, with that said, we're now going to talk about a new segment here on Wednesdays we call What is Streaming Next here on the John Campea Show, where we look at all the things that are coming out on streaming. What is coming out on Netflix? What's coming out on Amazon? What's coming out on Prime? I'm sorry. This cookie is so good.
They're really good.
Sorry, Campy. Be professional. All right. Let's bring up this document here for a second, shall we?
All right. Need some milk? Got me.
You
This
need
is
a
got
drink,
milk
man?
commercial.
Give me a second.
It's too. You put too much in your mouth at one time.
That.
Yeah.
I'm not even. No,
Say it.
no, no,
Say it, Rob.
Ah, cookie gate.
no.
right.
Oh no!
All right, I'm back. I'm ready to go.
Proud of you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Aaron Burr.
We go over now. and look
Nicely
at-
done.
I don't get it.
And this is where things went off the rails.
Oh,
All right, let's go over and take a look, see what's opening up this week on streaming. All right, we've got starting today on Wednesday, November 16th, we've got the new Chris Hemsworth Nat Geo series on Disney Plus, Limitless with Chris Hemsworth. A different way we can live better for longer. regenerating damage, maximizing strength, building resilience, shocking the body, supercharging memory, and confronting mortality. Now, this was one of the things that they highlighted at, oddly enough, they highlighted this at CinemaCon, didn't they?
I don't remember this.
I don't remember it.
But it was at one of the, because this isn't going to be theatrical. Which one was it? I was at one of the big
Was it a
conventions where they did a
D23?
big preview of this. It might have been a D23
It wasn't
or
at
something like that.
CinemaCon for sure.
Might have been something like that. I got to admit, while I love Chris Hemsworth, this is not one that's on my radar. I don't really care. But is any of you guys looking forward to this
Well, if they
one?
brought back Robert De Niro and Bradley Cooper, I'd watch it.
Well, if they brought back Tom Degnan and Michael James Shaw as Mike and Ike from the
Limitless show.
Yeah, Aaron's husband,
Yeah,
Tom
season
Degnan, was one of the
series
stars of the
Limitless.
Limitless series. That's right.
Which was a good show.
It was.
It was a great show.
All right. Also opening up today, and also under the category of something I don't care about, but
Game day.
Game day. Santa Clauses comes out on Disney Plus. Scott Calvin is about to turn 65 and realizing he can't be Santa forever, sets out to find a suitable replacement Santa while preparing his family for a new adventure in life south of the pole. This is truly one of the most awful trailers I've seen in the last couple of months. It was awful. Chris is just shaking her head.
I love the idea of Santa being like, well, I'm 65 now, so gotta pack it in. This is a young man's game.
So Santa's like Dread Pirate Roberts.
Apparently. Well, I always love in the first Santa Claus how none of the elves care that their leader has been murdered. Like, he fell off a roof and died, and they're all like, good.
Well, they're
We
focused
get
on
a
their
new
work.
one.
Did he actually fall off the roof?
Yeah, in the first one, he falls off the roof and dies.
How old has Santa Claus been this whole time if he's only 65 now?
There's been a lot of them.
And actually, Taylor looks up, how old is Tim Allen? Because I don't believe he's 65. But anyway, that's
Off camera, I have to tell you a Tim Allen story.
neither here nor there. All right.
Oh, he's 69.
He's 69.
All right.
I have no idea why. It just fit. I don't know.
All right. We keep going now here. Coming out on Netflix also today, The Wonder, a tale of two strangers who transform each other's lives, a psychological thriller and a story of love pitted against evil, starring Florence Pugh. Now, I have to admit, not much about this catches my attention other than the fact that it's Florence Pugh. I mean, Florence Pugh is kind of ruling the world right now. She's this year's Anya Taylor-Joy. I think in many ways, but I can't wait to see her in Thunderbolts. Anyway, so that one, of course, comes out today on Netflix. Opening tomorrow on HBO Max. This one does have my attention a little bit.
Yeah.
A Christmas Story Christmas on HBO Max. Follow the now adult Ralphie as he returns to the house on Cleveland Street to give his kids a magical Christmas like the one he had as a child, reconnecting with childhood friends and reconciling the passing of his old man. The first trailer.
Fragile must be Italian.
Did you see the trailer for it? I mean,
So sweet.
I'm not as big on the original A Christmas Story as most people are.
I haven't seen it.
To me, it was
Oh,
fine.
you're
It's not to me
Canadian.
not one of the
Right.
big classics, but I like it. It's good.
Oh.
But I mean, watching, even though it's not the most special thing to me, the trailers for this made me feel the nostalgia like way more than I should. So this is one that I think a lot of people will be looking forward to. All right.
Charming as heck.
Also opening tomorrow, this one I am dying to see.
I would not have known about this until you mentioned it on this show, and then I saw the trailer. I'm like, dude.
Right? So this is Pepsi, Where's My Jet? Coming out on Netflix. This is a docuseries based on a true story. When a 20-year-old attempts to win a fighter jet in a Pepsi sweepstakes, he sets the stage for David versus Goliath court battle for the history books. For those of you who don't know, you got to go look up the trailer of this. It's a true story where Pepsi was doing this promotion where with every can you get certain points.
Right.
And if you get this many points, you get a Harrier fighter jet
Like
or whatever.
20 million. Or
Yeah,
something.
like impossible.
Yeah, whatever fighter jet. Now, Pepsi did not say in the ad that they were joking. And so this kid decides, I'm going to get 20 million points or
Heck
however
yeah.
many points it is.
Heck yeah, dude.
And then when the company realizes he's going to, I mean, it looks incredible. Something so mundane. Like, you know what it reminds me of? Kong, A Fistful of Quarters.
Yeah.
King of Kong.
King of Kong,
of
that's
Kong,
right. King
yeah.
of Kong, A Fistful of
That
Quarters.
was great.
Something so non-important, but you just get pulled into and you can't wait to see it.
Also, when you're a kid, if somebody tells you you could win a fighter jet, you don't think, well, I don't know how to fly a fighter jet. You don't think about that. You're like, I want a fighter
Once
jet.
I get it, I'll figure it out. It's like riding a bike.
Right. I mean, I can put it in the backyard. You know, it's. I love this idea.
When does this drop?
Tomorrow
on
Netflix.
Okay, I'm gonna have to wait till midnight when you guys are asleep.
So for a double
To watch it
feature,
on my
so for a
Netflix.
double feature, if you haven't seen it, and I haven't seen the trailer for this movie, but I'm just based on what you're saying about it, I feel like a great double feature would be Pepsi Where's My Jet and McMillions about the McDonald's
that one was good too.
Monopoly.
The Monopoly one.
The big scam.
I think you're absolutely right
Scandal.
about that.
Yeah, that's a really good one, and they have some really the FBI agent in that. Really
That was a
is straight out of
crazy
Central
story,
Casting.
too.
Yeah.
All right, we keep going on here now to Friday. This Friday, November 18th, coming out on Disney Plus, is, you know what, one I am actually quite interested in, and that is Disenchanted. 10 years after her happily ever after, Giselle questions her happiness, inadvertently turning the lives of those in the real world and, boy, how do you pronounce it?
Andalasia.
Thank you. Upside down in the process. They showed us the first preview for it at D23. It's funny that the best stuff at D23 was not their Star Wars or Marvel stuff. But listen, I thought the first one was totally charming. No pun intended. This looks like it's going to be quite cute. I'm down for this one.
Dude, I have to say, I thought this looked good too. Again, Bob Chapek, how many millions of dollars this weekend are you leaving on the table because this is going directly to Disney Plus?
Yeah.
I'm just really excited that Giselle is starting a new chapter of her life because, you know, like she's been living in the shadows of the, football player for a while. And now that we're going to finally see her branching out and discovering herself, with Patrick Dempsey,
my
I'm
question,
here
though,
for
is,
it.
I'm really cheering for Tom, because it's, can
Are we
he
still
make,
talking about
can he
football?
make ends meet after not being married to Giselle? 'Cause
Find another girl.
She was richer than him. Mm-hmm. So it's going
A lot.
Will Tom be able to make ends meet? All right.
Poor Tom.
Next up, also coming out on Friday on Disney Plus, is Mickey, the story of a mouse. Mickey Mouse is one of the most enduring symbols in our history. Those three simple circles take on meaning for virtually everyone on the planet. I got to tell you, this type of stuff is the type of stuff on Disney Plus that really interests me outside of the Star Wars and Marvel things. These types of things, these industrial, like Light and Magic and stuff like this. And Mickey Mouse is a global icon. This is going to be really interesting to see. So that comes out on Friday. Also coming out on Friday, something I've never watched, the Great British Baking Show,
Bro.
Holidays.
How have you never watched it?
Never saw it, never seen a single
Oh my
episode.
God. This was my pandemic binge.
I don't really like the holiday ones though, because they're just short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the main
one-off.
series ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that comes out this Friday for those of you who are into the Great British. And I do need to try it. Everybody's telling me I need to check it
So
out.
charming.
It's super
Also coming out on Friday on Netflix, the new Jason Momoa film, Slumberland.
Hell yes.
A young girl discovers a secret map to the dream world of Slumberland. And with the help of an eccentric outlaw, she traverses dreams and flees nightmares with the hope that she will be able to see her late father again. Sounds a little bit like that Chris Pratt, Tom Holland animated film that they put out right before the pandemic. What was that? Onward?
Onward.
It sounds a little bit like that.
This is based on Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland.
Yeah, and the new trailer dropped today. It looks great.
Oh,
They
really
had
fun.
me until they mentioned dead dad, and then I'm like, God, I'm gonna cry. I don't want to cry.
Yeah, but the dead dad's played by Coach Taylor.
It's my dead dad, dude.
Oh, is that
Friday Night Lights.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler.
Kyle
I do
Chandler.
like
Who
him.
could do no wrong.
He's
By
great.
the way,
The
we will
best
be
Kyle.
talking a little bit about Kyle Chandler in the upcoming movie news feed. All right. Also coming out on Friday, Spirited, a musical version of Charles Dickens' story of a miserly misanthrope. I couldn't say miserly, but I can say misanthrope. Misanthrope, who is taken on a magical journey. This, of course, is Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. I did not like the first trailer to this, but the second one kind of won me over. Chris, you seem like you're really excited
I'm
for
so
this.
happy. This is my season. I've already begun. I've been watching Christmas movies for the last 2 weeks.
By
I'm
the
a
way,
nightmare.
Taylor told us that you subjected him to watching that Lindsay Lohan
So
one.
we only watched 17 minutes of that Lindsay Lohan movie before everyone got bored and was like, let's bake cookies. And then he and my husband tried to watch the movie again when it was over. We're like, we really should try to see what this movie's about. And all of us were just like,
There was a lot that was in it the second time that was not in there the first time.
I did watch it though finally. And
How
it's
is
not
that
bad.
possible?
There was a lot. Oh no, there was no Jello shots.
Well,
What did we
that's
have?
also because every 5 seconds Taylor was like, "Who's he? How are they related? What's going on?" And we had to be like, "Taylor, none of us have seen the movie before."
All right. Coming out on Sunday, November the 20th, we have Elton John live, Farewell from Dodger Stadium on Disney Plus. I love these types of concert movies and stuff like
I'm
that.
gonna
I
be
love
there
these.
on Thursday.
Are you going to be there?
Yep, that's Logan's birthday present this year.
Oh my God.
How did you get tickets?
American Express.
Oh,
I called my concierge and went, "Make this happen for me."
you are fancy.
That's that's a show I would love to see.
I'm so
I would
excited.
love to see it. So that's going to be on Sunday. Now, coming out on Tuesday, November 22nd, I've been looking forward to this one. Welcome to Chippendales comes to Hulu.
It looks good.
It, of course, stars Kumail Nanjiani, the origin story of Soman Steve Banerjee, an Indian-American entrepreneur who started the stripper trope Chippendales. First of all, I love Kumail Nanjiani.
But you don't like Magic Mike.
Not a big fan of Magic Mike, but this kind of had a Pamela and Tommy Lee feel to it. And I really enjoyed Pam and Tommy Lee. And this looks great. I think the trailer's amazing. And to see Kumail Nanjiani kind of spread his wings a little bit more, I really, really am excited about this. That comes out on Tuesday. So here we got Welcome to Chippendales, the Elton John thing, Spirited, Slumberland, The Great British Bake Off, Mickey Mouse, Disenchanted, Pepsi. I'm dying for you. A Christmas Story, all these. Which of these stand out to you? Which one, if you had to pick one that you could watch, Chris, and only one, which one would it be?
Spirited. Well, because also I was a Disney intern, so a lot of the history of Disney, like we already got indoctrinated with when they were like, drink this Kool-Aid and enjoy this company that you work for. But I think Spirit is the one I want to see the
Rob,
most.
if there's one you had to pick out, which
I want to see Slumberland because it looks like it's got a lot of really cool stuff in it.
For me, it's the Pepsi Where's
Yeah.
My Jet. That's the one for me. Aaron, what about you? If there was one on that list that you could watch, which one would it be?
Oh, A Christmas Story, Christmas. I need all the nostalgia, all the feels. I want them.
All right, guys, question is for you. Out of all the things coming out here now this week on streaming, which is the one that you are looking forward to the most? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know which one you would pick. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on to main topic number 2 of our show here today, shall we? Aaron, what is our second main topic today? Aaron was completely unprepared.
No, I'm right here.
Okay.
Our second main topic comes to us from AJ. Hey, John and crew. Hello there. I was wondering if you guys saw the story that the gaming production company Rockstar actually turned down a Grand Theft Auto movie that was going to be starring rap legend Eminem right after 8 Mile. And it was going to be directed by Top Gun director Tony Scott. I think this film would have crushed at the box office. Why do you guys think this movie was never made? Thanks, and have a wonderful day.
You know, they've been trying to make video games into successful movies for a long time.
And they've been succeeding.
and failing to succeed. And this one is really, really interesting because after 8 Mile, Eminem never really did anything else acting-wise. I mean, he had a bit part as himself in Entourage, but other
And
than
the
that-
interview.
Oh, and the interview. But, you know, that movie 8 Mile, considering the success it had, you would think that would have made, but I guess maybe it just didn't work for him, whatever. But he was interested in doing a Grand Theft Auto movie. This one comes to us from the folks over at IGN to write the following. Rockstar Games apparently slammed the brakes on the idea of turning Grand Theft Auto into a movie starring Eminem. Games industry veteran Kirk Ewing, a friend of Rockstar co-founder Sam and Dan Houser, told Bugsy Malone's Grandest Game podcast, per Eurogamer, that an LA producer once approached him with a $5 million offer to buy the movie rights to a Grand Theft Auto movie starring Eminem with Top Gun director Tony Scott in the director's chair. At that point, Ewan explained, they withdrew from any conversation about making a film when they realized the media franchise they had was bigger than any movie that was going on at the time. And that comes to us from IGN. All right. I actually, when you first hear this, that you got approached with an offer for just to be given $5 million just for the rights to make the movie. And you probably would have made a lot of movie on the back end of that. And it was going to have Tony Scott directing with Eminem, who's one of the hottest names at the time, starring in it, and you turn it down. I thought that was interesting. At first I thought you're crazy, but when I read that quote about they realized we're just going to make more money doing it the way we are doing it as a game. And also I was reading in another place that they kind of understood that video game movies never really helped a video game's IP, right? To this day, you can probably still say that. So I would have been fascinated to see a Grand Theft Auto movie directed by Tony Scott starring Eminem, but I actually totally do get the rationale, especially considering the era when no good video games ever turned into a good movie. I kind of get it. Anyway, Rob, when you hear about this, what's your first reaction to it? And do you think there's a way it could have been done?
Well, back then, I would assume after 8 Mile, so you're talking 20 years ago.
Yeah, in 2003, I think.
Yeah, so you're looking at Grand Theft Auto 3. I mean, they were right to turn this down because that Grand Theft Auto 5 is almost 10 years old and it's making a fortune. I mean, it's made, I don't know how many billions of dollars now, but they were right to do that, I think, because like you said, 20 years ago, video game movies, what were they? And this franchise was on the upswing. I mean, I remember Grand Theft Auto 3 was for PlayStation 2.
Yeah, and Xbox.
And I was obsessed with that game. I mean, that was one of the first video games in that modern era, because I never had a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2. And I remember I liked my PlayStation 2, but I loved my PlayStation 2 when I had Grand Theft Auto 3. I couldn't stop playing it. And at the time I was married, my wife was like, what? She couldn't deal. She finally made me play it only when she was asleep. It was... But you know, she was smart. I guess that's why we're not married anymore. But you know,
Tell us more, Rob.
they were smart to turn it down. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Chris, do you think there's an argument to be made here that, you know, they probably realized that, hey, if they did agree to this and they put out a movie, it could hurt the future of their game, considering how low quality video game movies were?
Well,
at the
I mean,
time?
it's a very highbrow game with a very intense narrative.
Well, it is.
You know,
Vice City, come on, man.
I mean, it got there eventually. We had some stuff, but I mean, they could have made a Monster Truck Madness movie too. Gosh, we were robbed. We were robbed of this film. I'm heartbroken.
Grand Theft Auto 5 does have a great story mode.
But where's
Five?
Grand Theft? Okay,
Four,
I'm
yeah.
not even big into the games. Where's Grand Theft Auto 6? Like,
They haven't needed to make one. They're
I
still
mean,
making money on 5.
haven't they like re-released 5 like 7 times?
Well,
Still
everyone's
up
doing
here.
the Grand Theft Auto Live, you know, like the live gaming. So
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Would you have been down for a Grand Theft Auto directed by Tony Scott, starring Eminem? I mean, maybe that could have broken the video game curse way back in the day, but I totally get their rationale for not doing it. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in the world of movies and TV news, and a lot of it we don't have time to talk about here. But if you're watching this show, we want to make sure you're caught up on as much as possible. So we put together a little flow of the smaller stories today we call the movie news feed. First up, the creator of the worldwide smash hit Netflix property Sandman, Neil Gaiman, was being interviewed and decided to take aim at people who repeatedly criticized the show for the inclusion of minority people groups. Gaiman said the following, "Oh, and occasionally you get these people shouting at us for having made up all these gay characters who weren't in the comics. And then we'd go, 'Have you read the comics?' And they'd go, 'No.' And we'd go, 'They were gay in the comics.' And they go, 'You're just woke and nobody's going to watch your horrible show.' And then we went #1 in the world for 4 weeks. And they went, 'It's all bots. We hate you. You're woke.' It's a weird silliness. These complainers don't like gay people, they don't like black people, and they don't like women." Next up, actor Henry Winkler is best known for playing the Fonz on Happy Days and his Emmy Award-winning role on Barry. But we almost knew him as the star of the classic film Grease. Winkler was offered the leading role in the movie but turned it down, and he shares how much he regrets it now. From Variety, Winkler was then offered the Grease role of Danny Zuko, but the character's similarities to the Fonz made Winkler nervous about being typecast. Little did Winkler realize at the time that the Fonz was so iconic that he was going to be typecast no matter what, regardless if he accepted Grease or not. "Yes, I am," Winkler said when Wallace asked if he's a damn fool
for rejecting the Grease role. I only realized years afterwards, I thought, I've played the Fonz, I don't want to do it again, but it's already happened. I'm already typecast. I should have just shut up and had a really good time making that movie, Winkler continued. Now, I go home, I say no, and I have a Diet Coke. John Travolta goes home, and he has done the movie and buys a plane. Next up, many movie fans tend to think that rival studios hope their competition fails, especially in the realm of comic book movies. But even though Black Adam is currently in theaters, star Dwayne Johnson took to social media to celebrate and congratulate the team behind Black Panther: Wakanda Forever for their record-breaking opening, saying the following: "A huge congratulations to the entire Black Panther team. Marvel Studios, Disney Studios, biggest opening ever for the month of November. That's a lot of happy moviegoers around the world. Beautiful. I can't wait to see the movie." Next up, a few years ago, some Disney Plus subscribers took notice and complained when a scene from the classic Tom Hanks movie Splash added some CGI long hair on Daryl Hannah to cover her bare ass. The shot was inconsequential, but the outrage was loud. Well, those people can celebrate today, as Disney Plus has now restored the shot in a new 4K upgrade of the film on the service. Whether or not this is yet another sign moving forward that Disney will embrace more adult content will have to be seen. And finally, some of you will remember a while ago that Cameron Diaz announced that she was going to be returning to acting and would star alongside Oscar winner Jamie Foxx in the upcoming Netflix action comedy Back in Action. Now it's been announced that 2 more major stars are joining the project as well. Friday Night Lights and Argo star Kyle Chandler and 8-time Oscar nominee Glenn Close has joined the movie that will be directed by Horrible Bosses director Seth Gordon and written by Neighbors scribe Brennan O'Brien. And that'll do it for this installment of the Movie News Feed. We want to take a moment and thank a sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. Guys, my wife Ann and I love using HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. When you subscribe to HelloFresh, you can check Save Money off of your fall to-do list. HelloFresh is 25% cheaper than takeout and even less expensive than grocery shopping too. And HelloFresh works with your ever-changing schedule. Plans are flexible and you can choose your meals for the week, update your preferences, or change your delivery day all in the HelloFresh app. Now, you know Ann and I are both working professionals, so when it comes to dinner time, it can be a bit of a challenge. We don't really have time to cook and we don't want to eat out all the time. And that's why HelloFresh comes through so clutch for us. Not only do we get to eat delicious, nutritious food, but Ann and I both have a lot of fun getting to cook together, following the easy-to-follow steps in getting the meals made. So go to HelloFresh.com/Campea65 and use the code Campea65 for 65% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea65 using the code Campea65 for 65% off plus free shipping.
And thank you to our friends at HelloFresh for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Aaron, what is our third main topic today?
This comes to us from Kyle Ginder. Well, it appears that Walter Hamada has found a new home at Paramount Pictures, where he has signed a multi-year production deal, which begins on January 1st. Hamada will lead the studio's horror movies with the goal of releasing several low to mid-budget films per year in theatrical and streaming platforms. Curious to hear everyone's thoughts. Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, listen, when they announced, when it became official that Walter Hamada was going to be departing Warner Brothers, we all said he ain't going to be out of work long. He's going to get snapped up, and he's going to get snapped up quick. But even I didn't think it would be this quick. I thought it was going to be like early in 2023, but no, it was instant. Paramount recognized the opportunity, and Paramount decided to sweep in and pick him up. This comes to us from the folks over at Deadline who wrote the following. Here's some big news. In the wake of former DC film boss Walter Hamada's departing Warner Brothers Discovery, he's landed at Paramount Pictures in an exclusive multi-year production deal. Huge gain here for Paramount with an executive who is behind the Conjuring franchise, the highest-grossing horror series ever, with more than $2 billion in the global box office. Hamada's deal starts January 1st, and he will be the architect of Paramount's mainstream horror genre productions, with the mission to release several low to mid-budget films per year across theatrical and streaming, and that, of course, comes to us from Deadline. Hamada had a great track record in horror and a lot of production prior to taking on the job he had over at Warner Brothers. We all knew that he was going to instantly land on his feet somewhere. I kind of speculated. I thought Kevin Feige might try to snap him up, but instead, I get snap. Anyway, but instead, he ends up on the mountaintop over at Paramount, getting back into a genre that he's very familiar with, and again has had, well, in many ways, more success than anybody's ever had.
Had a banger year
in the genre and stuff like that. And he's going to be heading that stuff up there. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of stuff going on with Paramount this past year and a half, 2 years. Honestly, it's been there. The past 18 months has kind of belonged to Paramount.
Hit after hit after
and
hit.
It ain't just, even if you take Top Gun out of it, they've had a string of successes over there lately. And it's so refreshing to see because let's be honest, over the past 5 years or so, if you say, hey, if you name one studio that's really struggling, I mean, everybody would say Paramount, but they have been doing a lot of good stuff lately. And I think snapping up Walter Hamada to kind of oversee a horror division, if you will, is a big win for them. Anyway, Rob, you also predicted that Hamada would be landing somewhere really, really quickly. What do you think about Paramount running horror for them?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, I'm a big proponent of horror as an incubator for new filmmakers. Obviously, we've had two that prove that, Barbarian and Smile. And to have Walter Hamada, he's a very smart guy. The fact that I've been a proponent of studios starting their own Blumhouses. So basically, they're talking about him doing low to mid budget. They've proven Smile's Paramount, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so they're coming off of one of the biggest horror hits. That's not a franchise. I mean, that is a huge win. So he's coming off of that. He's starting January 1st. He's going to hit the ground running with Smile leading the way because it'll be going into digital streaming and home video. And he's starting in a very strong position. And I think that if the mandate is let's spend, well, Smile will be the ceiling, 17 million and less. Walter Hamada could crank out 10 films a year. And I mean, he'd be the guy to know. I'm going to give him a call. And show him Hills on Red. Say, hey, buddy, what's up?
Time to reboot this. Chris, you hear about this. I mean, Paramount wasn't one of the places that I naturally thought he would end up at, but again, I mean, this isn't as big of news as, like, say, James Gunn taking over DC Films, but I mean, Hamada going to Paramount, landing to lead a horror division. I think this is really exciting for them. What do you think about it?
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like Rob was saying, they had big success with Smile, which did have a relatively lower budget, and that's Hamada's sweet spot, right? He gave us the Conjuring franchise, Annabelle, It. He has a very, very high track record of executive producing horror with New Line Cinema. So I think this makes a lot of sense for them. And Paramount knows that they can work with this genre and these kinds of budgets and see a really great return. And I think in his hands, we're going to see some really cool stuff. And you know, I won't personally, but you all will.
John, you always pointed out that he was given the reins, but never really got to be unfettered.
He didn't get the keys to the kingdom. He just never had a passcode.
He was given responsibility without being given authority.
And they're going to let this guy run. Hamada's a smart guy, and I think he's got many ideas. In a way, I mean, giving somebody an executive a position like this at a studio is, for horror fans, almost as exciting as hearing James Gunn and Peter Safran taking over comics DC at Warner Brothers, because we need a horror-themed division at a studio. They should start their own, call it, Paramount Darkness, or whatever the hell they're going to call it, and give him the reins of that. It'd be great.
Well, they already have that, at Lionsgate. We saw that at CinemaCon this year, where they have there's ironically the same division that does all of their religious movies also does all of their horror films, in a smaller
Two
budget.
sides of the same coin.
Huh?
The two sides of the same coin.
Pretty much. Yeah. But and to your point, with Walter Hamada, in fact, the last time that I was on this show was the day that it was announced that he was officially leaving. And I said on the show, I wouldn't be surprised if he already has a deal in place. And I think that probably was the case. And given the fact that The Conjuring, like Chris said, it was the highest grossing horror franchise of all time, and it was the highest grossing horror film in history. And both of those happened under Walter Hamada's leadership. And I have no doubt that going into Paramount, a stipulation of his contract was probably, hey, you're not just going to give me a title and then, handcuff my hands to the desk. You're not only going to give me the title, but you're also going to give me the free reign to be able to do what I want to do and do what I know how to do. And I think that if you are a horror filmmaker and you're smart, you'll send him some flowers today.
You know what? Going
Wink,
back
wink.
to that, I still remember at CinemaCon to the presentation that Aaron was talking. Because Aaron, I don't know if that was at the most recent one, or if it was at the one
was.
just you and I were at 2 years ago. But they came out and they were talking about a religious-based movie on the life of Kurt Warner. It was,
that was 2 years ago.
that was 2 years ago, right? And they're like, they came out, give this big faith-based movie presentation, and then the same guy on stage once the lights went down again, and they came back up, the same guy on stage after talking about this big faith-based movie, he goes, "Now, who wants to see some people get fucked up?" And they go in and start talking about one of the horror films, right? It was quite the presentation. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, I'm glad Rob brought this out, that this also kind of denotes the first time I think we've seen one of the major studios saying we're kind of setting up a full division just for horror films, stuff like that. And Walter Hamada's their guy. How do you feel about that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right. With that down, let's move into main topic number 4. Aaron, what is our 4th main topic today?
Our 4th main topic is from Gatton, who says, "Sometimes I just don't understand the world." You know what, Gatton? Me neither. Andor isn't just the best Star Wars show of all time. It's probably the best show on TV, period. Despite that, I've been reading some reports that the show, while it gets an okay audience size, is nowhere near as big as inferior shows like Obi-Wan. Why do you think this incredible show can't muster up the audience it deserves? Thanks, and may the filthy be with you.
All right, Gad, thanks a lot for sending that in. Of course, the penultimate episode of season 1 of Andor aired last night. Don't forget, guys, a little bit later today at 3 o'clock Los Angeles time, we're going to be talking about it in a full open spoiler way in our Andor after show. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. If you haven't seen the episode yet, you got plenty of time between now and then to go get caught up. But, you know, we've been lauding this show like ever since it started. Like this show is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm just constantly pinching myself that this is Star Wars. Like, we've never had this kind of Star Wars. And again, I know I've said this a lot, but every time I watch, it's like, it's hard for me to believe that this is a Disney Plus show because it feels so much like an HBO show. And I mean that all in the best way. But while it's being completely praised across the board, it has not pulled in the ridiculous Star Wars numbers that things like Obi-Wan was able to pull in. And you're right, a completely inferior show. But he has not been able to pull in Star Wars numbers or Obi-Wan numbers or even The Mandalorian numbers or Book of Boba Fett numbers, another show that's completely superior to. And why not? Well, we've talked about that a little bit in general before, about the fact that, well, you know, this one is a totally different new characters that nobody knows about. You know, with Obi-Wan, we know Obi-Wan. With Boba Fett, we know Boba Fett. Mandalorian was Boba Fett to a lot of people. It was a Mandalorian that everybody was excited about. It was the first one under the gate. And it was targeted at families and kids and had the Star Wars adventure. This was a very, very different type of thing. But the folks over at IndieWire, actually, they tackled this question as well. And they actually had a pretty interesting take on this. They said the following: "There are plenty of reasons why Andor hasn't found its audience. The Rogue One prequel series features no characters from the original trilogy. TV watchers have been busy with the surfeit of fall blockbusters, and perhaps most significantly, Andor is decidedly not for children. But the paradoxically tempered public response to such stirring Star Wars story can also be explained quite simply. This is what happens when you tarnish a legacy. Andor could very well be paying the price for Disney's decade-long dismantling of the Star Wars brand. The diehard fans will always tune in, but casual moviegoers and TV watchers have been betrayed one too many times. There was the toxic fan response following The Last Jedi and all the behind-scenes turmoil with Solo, not to mention the surge in uninspired oversaturation meant to prop up Disney Plus while turning fan-favorite characters into filler content. Heck, Rogue One itself wasn't exactly met with universal acclaim. All that and a bit more led to this. What stood for decades as a beacon of blockbuster excellence now warrants a healthy dose of skepticism before jumping into hyperspace." They raise a point here about turning this beloved thing into filler content. Now, I remember many years ago, me and Harloff were talking on Jedi Council about the possibility of Star Wars launching TV shows and doing multiple of them a year. And I said at the time, I don't think they'll do it. And obviously they did. But I said, I don't think they do it because the reason I don't think they do it is the more you commoditize it, the less valuable it becomes. And that's exactly what's happened. When you start cranking out, just crank it. Well, you know what? People know Obi-Wan. People just crank out an Obi-Wan series. Everybody loves Boba Fett. You don't have the slightest thing that looks like a good story for Boba Fett. Everybody loves Boba Fett. Just do a Boba Fett thing. The more you just start cranking out for the sake of cranking it out, the lower in value it becomes. Sorry, Joey Bishop is making the weirdest sounds right now. The lower in value it becomes. I've been talking about that with Hulk in the MCU. Like, Hulk was great. Now we've got 5 of them. And Hulks aren't so special anymore. You know, Iron Man was great. Now you literally got 32 characters running around with Iron Man outfits. They ain't so special anymore. I feel the same way about Marvel sometimes. They're just cranking out shows just for the sake of cranking out. Now listen, I love new Marvel shows coming out. I do. And I love that new Star Wars shows are coming out. But when they sacrifice quality for the sake of quantity to boost up their streaming service, then what was an event starts becoming Tuesday. It used to be a big event back in the day when a brand new MCU film was coming out. Now it's, hey guys, 60 days have passed since our last Marvel thing. Where's the next one, right? It's not an event anymore. It's not special anymore. Matter of fact, I think Black Panther Wakanda Forever was the first time in a while that I felt like an MCU property coming out felt like an event. I didn't feel that for Thor: Love and Thunder. But I'm not talking about after watching it. I'm talking before watching it. It felt like, hey, Thor: Love and Thunder's coming out. Cool. But it's been a while. And I think with Star Wars, the same thing is happening. That they just start cranking out so much that it's no longer a valuable thing. It's no longer an event. It's no longer something special. It's one of the reasons why for a lot of years, the Warner Brothers executives, and this is going back a ways, when they wouldn't let Superman in a TV show and they wouldn't let Batman just be used in any TV show, whatever, and was keeping in the movies, is because their rationale at the time was, you start throwing Batman in TV shows, all of a sudden it's not as special anymore. Batman's not as special. You lower the value of the character. The more frequent and available something becomes, the less valuable it is. So I think IndieWire has a lot of really interesting insights in this. But again, I honestly think, Rob, the bigger issue than the commoditization of Star Wars stuff, because Obi-Wan did pull in big numbers.
Yeah.
And the Book of Boba Fett did pull in big numbers. So while I think that is absolutely a part of it, I think the other stuff we've talked about before is a little bit more prime. These are unknown characters. It's not made for kids. It doesn't have the space adventure that we love so much about Star Wars. It's something completely different. So there's all that. Anyway, Rob, as you look back at this show that I think we all agree is probably the best Star Wars TV there's ever been, why do you think it's not pulling in the numbers as some of the other like inferior product that Star Wars has pulled in?
Because it doesn't give the audience any kind of instant gratification. You know, I really think that the way this story is being told is almost antithetical to what Star Wars is. I mean, if you think about how Star Wars opens, the original movie, camera pans down over Tatooine, boom, Rebel blockade runner comes into frame. It's being attacked by a Star Destroyer. You're like, wow. And then suddenly there's a battle happening. R2 and 3PO are running between the rebels and the stormtroopers flooding into the ship. This doesn't have any of that. And they're looking, what really is interesting is Andor did the Tony Gilroy is doing what George Lucas did. Look back into the past and look at a genre, whether it was the Jedi or the samurai, looking at Kurosawa, Hidden Fortress, things like that. Tony Gilroy is looking into like, okay, Lucas was thinking Flash Gordon. What Tony Gilroy is thinking is resistance. He's looking back to World War II. He's looking back, thinking about movies like John Pierre Melville's Army of Shadows, or thinking about stuff like that, that is also part of Star Wars. It just had never been explored before. So what he's done is he's taken the Star Wars universe. It'd be like, you know, you lived in this part of the city and you never made it over to this part of the city. And he's exploring a part of the universe that we've never looked at before. So Star Wars fans are going, wait, what is this? And I think that the people that are open-minded to it are sitting down, settling in, and taking it for what it is. But there's a lot of people that resist it, and because they just haven't seen it before. And I think this show, they're going to find that when people, they're going to find that people are going to discover this. I especially think over the next month and a half, when it's all out, over Thanksgiving, over the Christmas holiday, there's going to be people who finally settle in that have been kind of like this. And they're going to sit down and they're going to allow it, once it's all there, to flow over them. And they're going to be like, wow.
I heard somebody put it this way. Andor is the Wire of the Star Wars universe.
That's exactly.
And it's the perfect analogy for that. You know, I don't know if you still have the image there that was up a moment ago, but am I the only one? And I'm not saying this is what it was, but when Luthen is going to see Saw, and he hands something over to the guard, am I the only one that thought that might have been a lightsaber? Like, again, Jonathan had I don't know if you still have access to that picture, but
I'll bring it up.
Luthen was standing there and he got, they said, oh, turn over. So, you're handing over, but he hands over this thing that looks to me like it could have been a lightsaber.
We know
It
he
did.
was very,
It
very
did look like it.
Okay, so I'm not the only one that thought that.
He likes Jedi apparel. I mean, you see in his workshop, in his store, there's tons of stuff.
But there's
Holocron
a
things.
thought,
Yeah.
though. There's been a thought going around. Is Luthen one of the final Jedi? Is he a Jedi that's been in hiding since the Purge?
Okay, well, I mean, not to give any spoilers, but the double lightsaber
There it is, right there.
spin of his aircraft.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't a lightsaber. That was just a laser.
But it was
That was a double lightsaber.
that was a big lightsaber blade.
That was
Well,
that
yeah,
was a
I mean,
lightsaber.
Could have been. We don't want to go into like you guys don't know what the context is.
Saber or not saber?
But I just think it would be interesting, and I would say this: if he does, and I'm not saying I think it is, but if he does end up being like a former Jedi, I would love it even more that the fact that this show didn't have to be about Luthen running around with his lightsaber and happy to nope, just straight pan. So it'd be a Jedi without having to have Jedi in the show. You know what I mean? Again, that could be that could be a Billy Club for all I know.
He's just Rick Harrison of the Star Wars universe.
He's Rick Harrison.
Pawn Stars owner.
guy.
Yeah.
Stores. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the best I can do is 5,000 credits. That's the best I can
That's all I
do.
got. Here's the Kyber crystal.
I'm not making any money if I give you any more than that.
yeah.
So who's his chum Lee? Who's his chum? Anyway, sorry, Chris. Your thoughts on this whole thing?
I mean, I think this article does a really great job. Y'all should read this Ben Travers article. It does exactly what it needs to do of talking about how we've been burned before as Star Wars fans. And look, there's going to be different things that come out that are going to work for some people, aren't going to work for others. That's the nature of television, right? It's all subjective. But I think enough people did agree that Obi-Wan was lackluster. The Book of Boba Fett was lackluster. And then they didn't want to turn into another prequel kind of thing. One, because in those other shows too, we know the stakes of those characters for the most part. We know what happens to Ben Kenobi. We know what happens to Anakin Skywalker. So you're watching it and going, why am I lingering on this? Why am I watching someone chase Luke Skywalker? I know he doesn't get got. But in this show, we do have actual stakes, even though we know what happens with Andor, right?
Well, the one character.
But
yeah.
Everyone else, so it's why we all got so invested in Kino and we're so heartbroken with that one line, right? It's why we are really, really interested in what's going to happen to Bix, Rob most of all. But,
Well, she's going to run.
She's going to
wanted to
run.
help her today.
She's going to run.
I wanted to
So this show has real stakes. And I just want to read the last part of this article, too, because it just really sums up why people should be watching this. Andor may not have lightsabers, Jedi, or a tiny green alien, but it does wield the force that matters, passion. And that's what the show has in stake.
Damn.
Yeah,
Shot
that's a great. By the way, going back to the whole thing about Luthen's thing, Brad Ass TV in the live chat pointed something out too. It's like, hey, don't forget what Luthen gave Andor. Gave him a Kyber crystal.
Exactly.
Yeah, those things ain't just.
He's got a holocron in his shop, too.
Yeah, he's got Jedi
Two.
holocron.
He's got a Sith and
Yeah.
a Sith and a.
He's got a Sith one and a
Jedi.
Jedi one. So it's a lot of good stuff. But yeah, I think you're right, Rob. I think more people are going to discover this as it goes on when the reputation of how great the show. Hopefully they're able to stick the landing next week. Again, guys, don't forget today at 3:00 Los Angeles time, that's 6 p.m. New York time, we will be doing our live Star Wars Andor open spoiler discussion after show. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. Okay, guys, with that all down and out of the way, we're now going to open up the super chats and we're going to take your live comments, thoughts, theories, and questions. So if you've got one, now is the time to fire it in. We only leave the super chats open for just a couple of minutes, so make sure you get those thoughts in now. But before we get to those, we're going to take a second and thank the main sponsor of our show here, my mobile service provider, Ryan Reynolds' Mint Mobile.
Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. This holiday season, the best deal in wireless can only be found at Mint Mobile. Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you'll get another 3 months free. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order and activate from home with eSIM while saving tons on phone plans starting at just $15 a month. Guys, you know I've been using Mint Mobile long before this holiday deal, and I have to say, it is the perfect time to switch. Since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been spending 1/3 of what I used to spend on my mobile service with the other big name company. And with this buy 3 months, get 3 months free, not only is it a great choice for you, but it makes great gifts for the people you love. Mint Mobile's best offer of the year is here. By going online only and with eSIM and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes those significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily and effortlessly with eSIM. Or if you need a new device, for a limited time, get 6 months of free service when you buy a selected device and plan. So guys, for a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months free by going to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea.
And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get into your super chats here, shall we? Aaron, what do we got coming in here first?
Our first super chat comes to us from Donald Meeks, who sends in $2.
Thank you, Donald.
And next is from Jedediah Elias, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jedediah. Disney is looking for more ideas for MCU shows. Might I suggest an Andor-style series about the quiet rise of Hydra from the first Avenger to Winter Soldier?
I am Hydra'd out. I am sick of Hydra. Like they ran the Hydra stuff so into the fucking ground, then they dug it up and ran it into the ground again. I am like, especially with that garbage show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like everything. Oh, Hydra, damn it. McDonald's forgot to put my fries in my order. Hydra. Like everything was fucking Hydra. And then they went back and then it's Hydra is about a space alien god. I am so over Hydra. I do not want anything more with Hydra. Thank you very much.
That's a great idea, Jedediah. I think.
Thank you so much, Jedediah, for writing in that question.
When I was watching Black Panther, I was like, we haven't heard from Hydra in a while.
Yeah, because they were dismantled and destroyed.
Yeah.
And then they came back and they were dismantled and destroyed again. And then they brought them back again and then they were dismantled. And then it was the alien god.
They're not a threat
God,
anymore.
so
That's
bad.
the problem. They're not a threat anymore. You don't feel like they could do anything to any of the heroes.
Yeah, so anyway, counterpoint with Ray Aura. All right, what's next?
This is from South Texas Shark, who says, so if the whole crew played Mario Party, who would win? Who would rage
John.
quit? And who would curse the F out of someone?
I always win.
Chris would curse the hell out of people.
Probably.
I would rage quit.
Ray
Ann would win.
Or Ann or Ray would win.
Ann or Ray would win.
The steak flipping
Always
one.
win when we play
Oh,
at
yeah.
home.
I have the record
I
for
love
the
that
steak.
one.
Oh,
We should.
Is it
I'd
on?
kick your ass.
I think it's on.
We
Let's
should
go,
totally
motherfucker.
record ourselves having a game of Mario Party.
Well, Rob doesn't know what that is. Should we explain it to him?
It's not hard
get
to
it.
pick up. Not hard to pick up.
There's no
Mario has a
cocaine.
party
All right, what's next?
on a board game.
Next is from Stubble McShave, who says, daily first world problem. I don't have time to watch everything that I want to watch. When it comes to possible problems, it's a nice one to have. That is true.
Listen, I'll tell you what, when we're coming out of the pandemic, where it was like, I guess I'll watch Wall-E for a 35th time. I mean, when there was like nothing to watch, it is a great problem to have. That's like, man, there's so much to watch. I can't possibly keep up. You're right, man. That is a good problem to have.
I finally watched all of Burn Notice during the pandemic.
I
And was
never-
like,
I've never seen
Wow.
it's a great show.
Wow.
It's real fun.
That's another one I got to get on sometime. All right,
Might
what's
as well
next?
watch Lex.
From James Germain says, hey, John, I'm so pumped that Opie is voicing Thor in God of War and Toby Ziegler is Odin. Odini.
I have
Odal.
no idea what
Od-
we're talking about.
God of War.
God of
Amazon
War?
Series? He's saying who's going to voice them?
Voice them. I thought it
Or,
was
or
live
is it the
action.
video game he's talking about that are
It's
voicing
probably the
them?
video game.
So Ron Howard?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If someone says Opie,
Or is he talking about the actor from Sons of Anarchy?
I was going to say Sons of
First-
Anarchy.
Probably
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, but voicing them, like I thought it was a live action. I don't know. All right, what's next?
I don't know. Ron Howard.
And Toby Ziegler's West Wing. That's Rich
From
Schiff.
Amin, who says, up ahead is Avengers 2.
Avatar
Excuse me,
2.
Avatar 2. You grew up hearing about it, but you never figured you'd be going there. 1 month to go.
I mean, listen, you're right. Avatar 2 for a long time became a myth. Like they talk, I mean, because when was it the first time they announced Avatar 2? Wasn't it like
8 years ago?
2017 was the original release date?
I got my first adult tooth when they did.
But I think the first time they announced, I think it was gonna be like 2017
Yeah.
or something like that. And I mean, who knows? I'm still not 100% convinced it's coming out, but it probably is.
How about this? This blew my mind. I'd forgotten Kate Winslet was in Avatar 2.
Oh, right. Yep. Actually, she was in, I think, the first set picture. It was, remember her in that pool
Yeah,
of
the
water?
pool. Well, yeah.
Yep.
I just want to point something out. God of War, the game, Thor is voiced by Son of Anarchy's Opie.
Okay.
And speaking of movies that we don't think is coming out, Funko released The Flash exclusive Funko today at 9:30 for the Flash movie. It lights up and there's sounds. I guess they released one today, so we're getting closer to a real
Batman Flashpoint.
Flash
Batman
movie.
Flashpoint.
It's like, where's your alcohol stashed?
Get it for your kids.
God.
Ah, yes.
Oh, I needed that. Woo!
Okay. What's next?
From Casey Mack, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Casey. Just got to mention that you guys forgot a streaming show coming out tomorrow that I'm really looking forward to, and that's $18.99. The new from the makers of Dark.
Oh, that comes out tomorrow?
I can't wait. I didn't realize it started tomorrow. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's got everything I want. The sea, weird mystery boats, and a cult.
Well then.
Are there ninjas?
And it's connected to
I don't think it's connected. It's made by the same people.
made by the same people.
But it
Okay.
looks
The same people as what?
incredible. The same people that made the German Netflix series Dark.
that everybody loves and I haven't seen. Well, I watched the first episode.
It's really good.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
really good.
I don't know. It's strange. I watched the first episode and I liked the first episode. I don't know why I never got back on it.
I think the show looks incredible. I love the trailers. I can't wait.
All right. By the way, James Wheeler gifts 5 John Campea channel
you.
memberships to people. Thank you, James, so much, man.
Wheeler.
That's awesome, man. All right. What's next?
Next is from Luis Enrique de la Peña, who says, did you know that Lupita Nyong'o was actually born in Mexico and speaks perfect Spanish? Some people call her Mexicanian.
Yep.
I wouldn't be
That's why her name is
surprised if she
Lupita.
can speak 7 languages,
Yeah.
is the world's best chef, and is the designer of the Sears Tower.
Yeah.
I mean, I just believe, you could tell me anything about Lupita Nyong'o and I would just believe it's probably true.
Well, yeah, she just pointed that out. Lupita,
Yeah.
her name Lupita.
They named her Lupita because of
Right.
being born in Mexico.
Lupita Nyong'o.
She's amazing.
All right, her and Lily James, man. All right, what's next?
From Igian says, favorite Machine Gun Kelly song, and will you be seeing his new movie, Taurus?
My favorite Machine Gun
have it.
Kelly song is Kill Shot by Eminem.
I have
That's
it.
probably the best song that has anything to do with Machine Gun Kelly. And no, I have no interest in anything he does.
Oh my God.
I thought he was good in Black Box, and I also thought he was good in The Dirt. You know what? I don't know anything about his music. I could not name a single Machine Gun Kelly song, but I like the movies I like seeing him on screen. I think he's done well.
My
that
favorite
song he does
Machine
with
Gun
Halsey.
Kelly song is Roulette. There you go.
I think the best Machine Gun Kelly moment is in, what's it called? Jackass.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's his best on-screen
Oh, yeah.
moment.
I probably didn't watch that part anyways. I was
You
turned
did.
around-
You were
I was
there. You
turned
were in
around
the
whole
theater for
time
that part.
during that movie.
All right, what's next?
From Suthius says, Kino's speech or Cap's speech in Winter Soldier.
Oh, Cap's speech. Oh, yeah. That's, I mean, yeah, the other one's great, but Cap's speech in Winter Soldier, 1,000%. 1,000%. All right, what's next?
From Andy, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Andy. Fun fact, Warner Brothers got Eric Kripke to do the Sandman on network TV, probably the CW. Gaiman thought Kripke's take was great, but network TV limited it. Kripke is a big fan of Sandman, and it muchly inspired
Supernatural. Yeah, I was going to say
Supernatural.
Kripke is also the creator of Supernatural, and of course is the showrunner
Boys.
over
Boys.
at The Boys. That guy's awesome. that being said, as much as I love him, I don't know that that Sandman is the right property for him. Again, maybe I shouldn't be limiting him just because he's done some things that I really love and I think that's all he can do. But it would be a very interesting thing. An Eric Kripke Sandman would be fascinating.
He would have done some really solid stuff with Corinthian.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That
would
would've
have
been
probably
good.
masturbated over the city or something.
Well, you know.
Yeah, because that's what Kripke do.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Zach Marcello says, let's call it war. So powerful.
Oh, listen. I'm not going to say anything, but that whole scene, and again, I won't say what the scene is for those who haven't seen it, but it represents. I still remember when I came out of Rogue One, and I said, I yearn so badly to see that side of the rebellion that is the side we don't want to look at. Because if you're going to have rebellion, you need people who have to make tough calls, morally questionable calls, get their hands dirty, all that kind of stuff. And that's why I got excited when they announced that they were going to be doing an Andor show. That scene, for those of you who've seen the episode, perfectly embodied everything about what I wanted to see about the darker side of the rebellion. I love that scene so much, and we'll talk more about it on our Andor after show later. All right, what's next?
From Schreiber says, Chris, you continue to amaze me. I also want Princess Diaries 3, and we also need to know if Mia's grandmother is still with Joe.
Of course they are. They're still together. They're in love. She loves Joe. Hector Elizondo, come on.
Is that Joe Manganiello or
No, it's Hector Elizondo, who is like her bodyguard or something in the original 2, and then they fall in love and then they get married. It's really
Who
wonderful.
doesn't fall in love with their bodyguard? Like
All right,
classic
what's next?
Disney. From Guzman says 2022 best supporting characters: Googly Eyes, Jenny the Donkey, and M'Baku's Carrot.
Googly Eyes was such a great repeating theme in Everything Everywhere All at Once. But yeah, look, I think it is official. M'Baku is the coolest character in the MCU. I don't think there's a cooler character in the MCU than M'Baku. Just the way he walks in. If we had been there, that fish man would be in chains. M'Baku is so great. I love M'Baku so much. All right, what's next?
From Chef Rigo. Welcome back, Aaron. Thank you so much. And how is the foot feeling, Ray?
Oh, it's great.
Yep.
That's fine.
I don't even
It's
notice
fine.
Ray limping anymore.
It's fine.
He limps. I think his limp is a
Yesterday a
habit.
little bit.
All right, what's next?
Matt Boyle says, my emotions. Andor is the way. Give that droid an Emmy.
Oh,
Right?
my bad.
I know. I can't.
Again, we can't go
I
into it,
can't.
but I look, 3PO and R2 will forever be with me. I mean, they're the important part of my whole life, right?
But there's a new Sweet Boy droid.
But there is a
Dude.
new droid.
Yeah.
And your heart broke.
You know, John, in Empire
Just
Strikes,
a line, stay here.
you know, and,
Oh, God.
His design kind of reminds me of the black hole, the droids in the
Yes,
black hole.
yes, that's exactly what
Old
it's
Bomb.
reminiscent of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the way that I want to give credit to the actors around him as
Yes.
well, because there's a saying in actors, for performances, you don't play the king, everyone around you has to play that you are the king, and that is exactly what's happening here. Is so much of the emotion that we're not talking about also comes from the way that everyone around the droid spoke to the droid, and that was also equally heartbreaking.
Breaking. I can't wait for Chris to watch it. She's going to come out in tears.
yeah.
All
Are you
right.
talking about the
Having a hard time.
latest episode of Andor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From a Sith Loud says, to clarify, I would like to see James Gunn pull off the OG question. By the way, Andor is a spectacle, and I feel like it will catch fire soon. That ship is fi.
Here's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to say something here, and then I'm going to completely contradict myself. I don't know that anybody cares about the question, to be honest with you. I don't think there's anybody in the general movie-going audience who would care at all about that character. I'm not talking about the hardcore geek circles.
But I love him.
That being said, rewind 3 years. Ask me if I thought anybody would care about Peacemaker. I wouldn't have thought anybody's going to care about Peacemaker.
Well,
And yet here we are, right? Peacemaker is the bomb. So,
but
I don't know, maybe
every great character is one movie away from being a success.
it's true. Look at
You
Guardians.
know? Yeah.
You just need one person in a room to believe in you.
I'm
Just
telling you.
one.
Chris is that person for the
And it's
question.
me. I'm your Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
All right, what's next?
Ryan Cleary says, "Hi, John. Have you seen All Quiet on the Western Front yet? If so, what are your thoughts?"
No, I haven't had a chance to sit
gotta
down and
watch,
watch
dude.
it. They're just okay. I'll cry for a second here. I am working around the clock. You can ask these guys what time show notes went out. The show notes went out at 3:30 in the morning. I mean, like so I'm falling behind a lot on stuff that I need to watch. And that's one of them that I really want to watch, but I simply do not have the time to watch it right now, unfortunately. All right. Anyway, what's next?
From Vixter 5001 says, off to Royal Albert Hall in London.
Nice.
Wow, Thursday for Casino Royale and Friday the 4th for Skyfall with a live orchestra.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Skyfall, which we talked about last week, or was it this week, just celebrated its 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's been 10 years since Skyfall came out. Dude, I love those experiences. Those experiences of being able to go to these movies and watch like a whole, like an orchestra playing along with it. We go to the Hollywood Bowl whenever we can to watch them do that stuff, whether it's for a Star Wars movie or we saw it for Princess Bride. We saw it for Black Panther. I mean, it's always a great experience. That sounds like an awesome one, man. I hope you have a great time. All right, what's next?
From Stubble McShave says, Andor needed a stronger hook in the earlier episodes.
I mean, look, I'll say this. One of the smartest things they did, and we've talked about this, that they did with Andor was to launch it with multiple episodes. Because if it just launched with episode number 1, I'm not sure it would have had the hook. But it's when you play it and then you're able to see episode 1 in context with the subsequent episodes. That really nailed it. I don't know, but you know what the funny thing is? They launched this show with something they've never touched on since. He's the search for the sister. Right? His sister who apparently became a pole dancer.
Okay.
So, I mean, so we've never kind
She
of
was
revisited
a
that.
sex worker. It was a brothel. It was not a dance.
It wasn't a strip club?
It was a brothel.
Okay. Then
That
I
was my
take it back.
takeaway too.
I didn't know that he ever found her. He found her?
No, he didn't find
Oh.
her.
Never found her.
Is there a world in which Bix is his sister and they just don't know it?
Ooh, but that means then they hooked up.
Dang. I'm
Well,
here for
Luke
it.
and Leia kissed.
I'm here for it. Game
Rob.
of Thrones.
Targaryens.
That
Let 'em
reminds
all
me,
hook
there's
up.
this one season of Game of Thrones, of Sons of Anarchy, where the club goes to Ireland to see their Irish chapter, and Jax meets this girl, and they start macking on each other, and so they go into the back room, and just as the pants are about to come off, family bursts in, your brother and sister. So
I hate when that happens.
yeah, this reminds me. Okay, anyway, what's next?
Next is from Dildar, who says, "Let's hope the new CS
No idea.
is good. The one with Daniel Stern was no bueno."
I don't know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Daniel Stern.
Anyway, guys, please try not to write in just in acronyms because then we got to sit here and try to think about it. All right, what's next?
Retribution Zero says, "Any love for 1899 on Netflix coming out?" We just
Yes.
talked about it.
Somebody
Yeah.
else has brought that up. Rob is obviously giving a lot of loud in here.
CS stood for Christmas Story.
Oh,
But Daniel Stern wasn't in A Christmas Story.
Oh, that's what the chat
Are you
told
talking
me.
about Home Alone? Because that was
Talking
great.
about Home Alone, baby.
Yeah, Daniel Stern
Oh.
was in Home Alone.
all right.
Unless
All right.
it was a child. Who knows?
What's next?
Ben Rayner says, "What's your 3 Christmas movies to go to?" Mine is Home Alone, Christmas Vacation, and The Santa Claus.
You know me, but I don't come up with lists off the top of my
No
head.
way home,
so.
baby.
Die Hard, Lethal Weapon,
You
and
can't say
Gremlins.
Die Hard.
Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
It is
Yes,
absolutely
it is.
Okay.
Die Hard is
then
not a
Die
Christmas
Hard.
movie.
Muppet
Die
Christmas
Hard.
Carol, and then Elf, and then Kiss Kiss Bang
A
Bang.
Christmas Carol is also not a Christmas movie. It's
What?
a ghost story. Just
You're a
happens-
ghost story.
Yeah, you're a good story.
Shots fired.
All right, well then my favorite
sorry, Aaron,
Christmas
I'm
movie is Shawshank Redemption because Christmas happens in it once.
Oh, well, you got a point.
a
So
Christmas
there
movie.
you
It is a Christmas movie.
All right, what's next?
Victor 5001 says $18.99 is on Netflix tomorrow.
Yeah, a few people would write. Apparently, a few people pretty excited about 1883.
okay.
It looks great.
Not to be confused with 1883. Very, very different thing. Not a shared cinematic universe. All right, what's next?
Jay King sends in a $10 super chat.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Jay
so
King.
much, Jay King. So many great films coming out in theaters this weekend. Bones and All, She Said, and The Menu. I saw Bones and All at the New York Film Festival, and it was incredible. Everybody, please go watch it.
You know, you never think I was going to wake up and say, man, I can't wait to watch a romance about a couple of cannibals.
Yeah, traveling in the 80s America. But I want to see it.
But you put in who I think is the next Daniel Day-Lewis. You put it in Timothy Chalamet there. The Menu is the one for me. That's
Yeah.
the one that I'm
excited about that.
so stoked. And again, she said, we were talking about this the other day, Aaron. She said they featured it at CinemaCon. They gave us a big preview for it. And what I said the other day, and I want to know what you think about it, is that this looks like a really important movie. But they did not do a good job at CinemaCon making it look like it's something I needed to watch. You know, I thought they didn't do a good job making it, because we've seen other movies based around really important issues that hook you in with the way they market the film, and I just don't feel like they've done a good job with that. What she said. What do you think?
I still don't think that they've done a good. This is a really important movie. It doesn't seem that important to me. It just seems like a really fun movie with a great cast. I have no idea what you're talking about when you say it's a really important. Like, is there some sort of political commentary going on?
Well, it's the whole. Yeah, it's looking at the whole the formation of the Me Too movement and all the stuff that was going on for
the
so
breaking
many
of the
years in
Harvey
the
Weinstein
entertainment
story.
industry and how
Oh
it got
my God!
exposed.
I thought
What do you think we were talking? A really fun
I was
movie?
going to say.
the menu.
No,
Bones and All.
She
Like the
said-
menu is about me.
It just
too?
looks like a really fun movie.
Oh my
How-
God. So,
how-
like,
how
no,
would
no,
You
no.
said.
No. Yes, she said it was really weird because like Michelle Williams was there, but they really kind of made it sound like kind of. And obviously, I don't want to say that it should be a more lighthearted film, but they made it just seem like a super downer, but not a downer in a way of, hey, this is a really important topic and you really need to see this and it's going to be, it's going to captivate you and you all live through it and now we're going to give you the behind the scenes of what actually happened. They just kind of made it sound like, and here's a really sad, slow movie.
What's the movie we were talking about yesterday? The Michael Keaton movie. It was number one on my
Oh,
list.
Dope Sick. No.
No.
Birdman.
No, Spotlight.
Spotlight, because Spotlight similar, a similar kind of real world stuff, but Spotlight
Terrifying.
looked riveting when you watched the promos for it and everything like that. They looked like must watch, and I just, for the She Said marketing, I'm not feeling the drama. They're not making me feel the weight of the movie like
No.
something like Spotlight did.
Unlike Bombshell, which
Oh, yeah, Bombshell did a great job with
great job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all you needed was that elevator scene.
Yeah.
Where they're all in the elevator and you know where they're all going. And that's all you needed. And that's what I want to see. I want to see a trailer drop for She Said that, gives me that oh shit moment.
It
I
feels like
wanna
there's the
know-
assume we know that it's important.
All right, we need to move on here. 'cause we're
What's
almost out of
Harvey
time.
Weinstein's defense attorneys going to say to the jury about what movies they can see this weekend?
All right,
Those
what's
are my-
next?
From Bond Presents, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I have lots of friends who aren't watching Andor because they tapped out from the recent Star Wars. But I tell them I refuse to be friends until they watch it and other casual tactics like that to spread the word.
Casual tactics.
Hold your friendship hostage in order for them to watch it. I think that sounds totally reasonable.
But I mean, it like again, IndieWire pointed this out. Like, burn me once, burn me twice. I mean, they're
Then you're Anakin Skywalker.
okay.
Well
That's
done.
that is the aviation gin shot of the
There's
day.
a sad ending to this comment that he made. None of his friends ever called him again.
And then none of his kids called him again. But yeah, it's you got to. It's weird because there's still. I mean, and listen, there are some people who go to Star Wars, and there's nothing wrong with this. We all go to different properties for different elements, right? There are some people who go to Star Wars because they want the pew pew bang bang. They want the flashing lights. I love that stuff too, but they're not getting that in Andor. They're getting The Wire. They're getting HBO. They're getting heavy drama, and that's not what some people are looking for in Star Wars. So I understand that, respect that, but I think you're missing out. I think you're really missing out. Anyway,
Agreed.
All right, what's next?
From Luis Enrique de la Pena says, what happened with the beginning of the show, John? Now you're doing hashtag thoughts in the restroom or hashtag thoughts in the toilet?
And I think I forgot to do a cold open yesterday, and Jonathan reminded me like 1 minute before the show started. I was like, it's too late to do one. So he just kind of made sure that we had one to go today, even if it meant he had to follow me into the bathroom.
I reminded him as he walked out of the stall.
Yeah,
It's dedication.
with the camera sitting there.
was
I was
very
surprised
subtle.
he didn't hold the camera over the stall like this, but I'm glad for everybody. that he did.
Demonetized.
All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Al. When John was eating the cookie and was like, I thought of the scene from Jingle All the Way involving the Ted character and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Put that cookie down.
It's
solid.
In my defense,
Thanks. Thank you.
it's a really good cookie.
It is a really
It's
good
so
cookie.
good.
Like Ray, we still have to do a Campea cook-off show.
You'd kick my ass at baking. I don't have the patience.
Is that cookie gone?
This guy,
No,
that
there's still
cookie was
some
way
cookie.
too
I'm
big.
taking
There
the
still has
rest
to
of
be
it
some
for my
left.
child's birthday cake because I'm a terrible mother and I'm here with you
It's
instead
the
of
size
with
of her dog, that cookie. So,
Yeah.
all right, what's next?
From Adrian Bonds, who also sends in a $10 super chat. Man, the $10 the who's on the $10 bill? I've never seen one. Ben Franklin.
No.
I only
I only know
Washingtons
Canadian
in
money.
my G-string. Hey, crew, did you know that Eminem turned down the leading role in Southpaw? Yes, I was going to say
Yeah,
that, but it never came to me.
Southpaw, too.
Antoine Fuqua directing Southpaw. It was originally starring Eminem, and it was going to be filmed in Detroit, and it somehow then went to Jake Gyllenhaal.
And I think, listen, all due respect to Eminem, it went to the right guy.
Yeah.
Like Jake Gyllenhaal in that role was like, I didn't love the movie,
No, but he was amazing.
but he acted the shit out of that movie. And he, oh my God, the shape he got in for that. Like, that was sick.
I don't know. I think that Eminem could have done a really great job in
Better
that.
than Jake Gyllenhaal?
I'm just gonna say, yeah.
The
You
world
know
will
what? He
never
broke my
know.
girl Taylor's heart. I'm not a big fan anymore.
Oh, okay, I
That
got
and
you.
between that and Ambulance, I'm done with Jake. I'm done with you,
It doesn't
Jake.
matter because the trailer house told us the entire movie of Southpaw. So
Since you brought it up, did you get your Taylor tickets?
No, not yet. But I'm hoping that Tom got them for me for our son's birthday.
I mean, the fact is, she's doing 3 shows at SoFi Stadium, which I think everybody on the planet can go. I mean, they can go to the Taylor Swift show 5 times.
You'd be
Tom has been
surprised.
playing
Go
her
to
new
Vivid
album
Seats.
on loop. Yesterday, he goes, "Have you heard the new Taylor Swift album?" And I was like,
Heck yeah, Tom.
"What? Who is my husband?" He like won't stop playing it. So I
Yeah.
think we're gonna go.
And that's if it's not, for a while it was Justin Bieber. For like 3 months it was just straight Justin Bieber in the car. Now it's just all Taylor Swift. Something about a dream her daughter-in-law murdered her for the money. I don't
Yes.
know.
You guys probably know half the people she's singing about.
All right, what's next?
No comment. Jedediah Elias says, got tickets for the Puss in Boots early access screening on November
Oh,
26th.
yeah.
Really
Game day?
enjoyed the first one.
It's gonna-
Excited to see what happens next. And so for your little Puss in Boots cuteness, Puss.
Oh, look at Joey.
but that's a dog, not a cat.
I know, but she's
Way
basically a
superior.
cat.
Dog and bandana.
I have
Way
both, and I still love my cats. But hey, it's a Taylor meet and greet. I'm sure he'll be there too, Jedediah.
Yeah.
I'll be at every screening.
All right, what's next?
Next is from Mr. Godzilla, also sending in $10. Thank you so much, Mr. Godzilla. Hey guys, do you think that the MCU at some point will adapt the X-Men Second Coming storyline? And if so, who would you cast as Hope Summers? My first choice would be Anna Taylor-Joy.
Well, you know, around here, Mr. God, we don't do X actor and X role kind of stuff. Honestly, I don't think they're going to do that storyline. And if they did, we are so far away from it.
Yeah, it's
right now
far,
we don't
far
even
away
have.
from it.
That's so far. That's way down the line kind of X-Men story. So, I mean, whenever you ask, could they ever? Well, the answer to the any question that has the word "ever" in it is always yes. Could ever?
But it
sure,
requires
we're-
so much X-Men backstory.
Let's
just jump
I don't
into
think
it.
they'll ever do it, but it is so far. If so, it's so far down the road. All right, what's next?
Next is from Spencer Smothers, who says, I just finished God of War Ragnarok, and it was amazing. The additional cast was amazing. Richard Schiff, Deborah Ann Wall, and for John, Ryan Hurst.
Yeah, I was planning on at least watching 1 or 2 hours of the cutscene movie of it yesterday, but I literally ended up working all night, right up until midnight, where I stopped working so I could watch Andor. Then I got back to working, sent out show notes at 3 a.m. So haven't had to. Hopefully today. I think Ann is teaching a class tonight, because my wife, on top of everything else, is a university professor, on top of everything else that she does. So I think she's teaching a class tonight, which I think will squeeze out a little bit of time for me to watch some to watch some God of War Ragnarok. I'm excited about it. All right, what's next?
From Anubis Genocide says, what if the twist is that Luthen is an empire-hating Sith?
No.
You'd have to have some real Shroud of the Dark Side again on that.
Because the reason being is when you go back to the speech that he gave at the last episode, which, by the way, he should win an Emmy just for that speech.
Yeah.
That episode should win an Emmy for best directing. I mean, anyway, when he talks about I burned my life to create a sunset I know I'll never see.
Oh.
When he talks about sacrificing everything that he holds dear and his morals and his ethics and all that kind of stuff. That's not a Sith. That's not a Sith. Could a Sith hate the Empire? Sure. But when you go back to that speech that Luthen gave, which is one of the most, to me, that is the best moment of television since Vision said, what is grief if not love? Love enduring? No, what is
Love persevering.
I mean, what is grief if not love persevering? Which I think is the greatest line I've ever heard in a TV show. I think this is the next greatest moment. That speech was incredible, but that was not the speech that would come out of the mouth of a Sith. So great theory, but I just think that speech works against it. All right, what's next?
From Nickelback Love, Not Hate says, she said was good, not great, but it's also difficult to watch and very moving towards the end. But I can't wait for the menu tonight.
I hope you're right, man. I mean, Menu is going to be something I'm right up to see tomorrow night.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it just looks so good. I hope She Said is good. I really, really do, because they've not done a good job marketing it. It's going to tank. It's going to absolutely tank at the box office. They have not done a good job marketing this thing, so I hope it ends up being really good. All right, what's next?
Blah, blah, blah. Zach Marcello says, I love Andor so much. Easily my favorite show that I've seen this year. Telling anyone who will listen to watch it. Same.
Yeah, and it's hard to compare. Like when I say I think Andor has surpassed Mandalorian for me as my favorite Star Wars show ever. But they are two such radically different shows. I mean, they are night and day. They are cookie and banana. It's just totally different things. And everybody's looking for the significance of why did you say banana? And I don't know. I was trying to pick a piece of fruit. But so it's really, really hard to compare and contrast. But I would say this. If I found out there was a new episode of Mandalorian tonight and a new episode of Andor tonight, and I could only watch one, I'm watching Andor. That's the one I'm watching. I mean, it would kill me that I'm not watching Mandalorian, but that's the one I'm watching. All right, is that it?
That's it.
All right, guys, and that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved here with the show, thank you so very much for your support. A little bit of housekeeping here, guys. In case you didn't know, if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video every day, there's good news. There is an audio-only version we call the John Campea Show podcast. Just go onto your favorite podcasting app of choice, subscribe to it today, so you'll have the audio version there when you need it. Again, don't forget a little bit later today at 3 o'clock, we've got our Andor after show. We hope you guys will come back and join us for that. Guys, make sure since you're here right now, why don't you subscribe to our channel here? Just click on that subscribe button, click on the thumbs up button, leave a comment. All these things is a way for you guys to help us push our shows out to an even wider audience. Make sure you guys join us again for the show tomorrow. So for everybody in the room, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, Chris Carr, joining you guys in the live chat back there was Ray, also triumphant again in our games. Yeah. We got Taylor sitting in the back there. Jonathan ran the show as masterfully as always. And of course, Aaron Cummings and Joey Bishop make their return. My name's John Campea. Thanks for being here, guys. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.